Welcome to the Week 3 edition of the Giant Overreaction. I'm your host, Awthentik. Salute to the Giants Nation in the building, bright and early, man. We definitely got a show coming out tonight. We're going to be doing a recap of the NFC East, both of the games that went down between all four teams in the NFC East. Some big matchups here, man. We know that the New York Giants took a major L last night on Monday Night Football to the Dallas Cowboys, 23-16 in a tough battle, man. This was a gritty game, man. This was pretty ugly, to keep it funky with you, man. And with the Dallas Cowboys having a backup quarterback at the helm, we kind of expected a little bit better from our defense, man. But he was getting that ball out real quickly in this game, man. I want to go over some of their statistics first as we start the show here. Cooper Rush was 21 of 31, 215 yards. He had the one touchdown as well. Quarterback rating of 68.5 on the day. That's really good productivity coming from the quarterback position, especially when you're dealing with a backup out there, man. I thought he played an excellent game. But for me, I'm going to get right to it, too, because today's show, man, we're probably going to go about an hour. We're going to see how it goes. Y'all know how this goes over here at Giant Overreaction. Sometimes we end up going about 3 hours. But I thought that, man, Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, I talked about it in our preview matchup, that if they won the rushing battle between, the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, that it was going to be a problem for us, man. And they gashed us, man. They ran a lot of outside zone running schemes, man. And, Tony Pollard had 13 carries on the day, 105 yards. He was averaging 8.1 yards per carry. I really think that that's why Giants fans kind of have this perception that Ezekiel Elliott is washed, because Tony Pollard, man, he seems to gash us a lot every time we end up matching up against the Cowboys. But Ezekiel Elliott, he did really well in this game, too. He had the one goal line touchdown. He had 15 carries for 73 yards, man. So this is what I talked about in the preview, man. I thought that was going to be the hardest thing to stop in this game. Dallas Cowboys have not shown that they can run the ball that effectively so far this season, but we know when going up against the Giants, they tend to run that outside zone scheme, man, and they killed us with that. And in return, I think it kept our secondary a bit off balance. You had CeeDee Lamb with 8 catches on the day, 87 yards, and he left that big play out there, man, where Cooper Kupp, man, a perfect dime right in the breadbasket. CeeDee Lamb ends up dropping it. Could have padded Cooper Kupp's stats, or Cooper Rush. I'm sorry, I've been doing that all week. Could have padded Cooper Rush's stats and CeeDee Lamb's stats, but that drop hurts him. But CeeDee Lamb, he was definitely the number one target on the day for the Cowboys. 12 targets, and Noah Brown showed up in a major way in this game too. 5 catches for 54 yards, both of them averaging over 10 yards per reception. CeeDee Lamb with the one-handed snag, man. It was a real beautiful throw and catch. I think the Dallas Cowboys were the better team on Monday night in this game, and a lot of that had to do with the way that the Giants defense showed up in this game. 0 sacks, 0 takeaways. We talk about the roadmaps and the Nuggets on Awthentik and the Beard, the best division in football, on our preview show, and that was one thing I talked about. Got to get after the quarterback. Got to find a way to be able to get takeaways in this game. And I talked about Xavier McKinney's interceptions all happening at home. Couldn't get one here at home. Giants show up in all white with the Color Rush jerseys, and the stands was rocking. I mean, shout out to the Giants Nation again, man. The crowd was extremely loud in this game. It didn't really help our defense too much. We had that early blocked field goal, I think, that really hurt us. A lot of people haven't been talking about that, but that early blocked field goal definitely slowed things down for the Giants. But we're going to get into this, man. Try to give y'all, this is my first time doing a Giant Overreaction on the same day that we got a recap as well. So I won't let the whole cat out the bag. We're going to go more in detail tonight between the two matchups that we had in the NFC East. But I kind of wanted to at least, talk to the Giants fans directly early on in the day and whatnot. And, kind of bring a little bit of a therapy session to the board here at the Giant Overreaction. And for those of y'all that don't know, what we do here at the Giant Overreaction is we bring up statements on the screen or audio clips from the media, and we find out if these are indeed overreactions. If you think it's an overreaction, when I do play it or show it, we're going to put an O in the chat to represent that you think it's an overreaction. If you want to take the under and you agree with the statement on the screen, go ahead and put a U in the chat. And if you need a push, you need a little bit more time, maybe a couple of more weeks to get your thoughts together, you can take the push and put the hand emoji or the P in the chat. So that's how we do over here at the Giant Overreaction. Now, I want to talk first about my guy, man, who, I think has been the backbone of this team, even in 2 performances that I feel like are not fantastic performances, but show the kind of caliber of player he is. So let's talk about him. Saquon Barkley, man, the guy continues to impress, man. And I think that this guy's really back in his true form from 2018. And I've been saying this possibly even a little bit better than his true form. And let me keep the chat open here, too. I got to keep an eye on what y'all been talking here on the side as well. But on this, in this game here, man, he had the big run, the 36-yard run, 45 yards out of the backfield in the pass-catching department there. That's just enough for me. When I was talking with Tainer earlier on in the season here, we were talking about expectations for Saquon Barkley in the passing game, and we both kind of thought it would be somewhere between about 4 or 5 receptions a game. So that's really good. He had the big touchdown on the long run, which had me extremely hyped. This was the first game that I actually watched live on television. It was on ABC. I usually stream my games, and I don't know if that was a bit of a bad juju. I'm very superstitious and whatnot. Very close game. But I like to talk about these kind of games from Saquon Barkley. 81 rushing yards, that's solid for a guy. 3.5 yards the whole time until he broke that run open. And that's the kind of Saquon Barkley that we're used to. You can rely on him as a workhorse. But there is a statistic that stood out to me. And I was talking with, last night I chopped it up with Big Pat and a few others on his channel. Dash was over there. NYG22 was over there. And they brought a lot of good points to the table. And we were going back and forth, a lot of different perspectives. I think that's a great way to kind of come to a medium and come to your own conclusion. But in the first 2 halves, in the first 2 games, okay, so first half of the first game, first half of the second game, Saquon Barkley only had 11 carries combined in both of those games. And to me, that shows that this coaching staff is not getting to that running game early and often. Now, Mike Kafka called an incredible game plan in the first half of this game last night against the Dallas Cowboys. Big kudos to him, okay? He was finding ways to get Bellinger open on little sneaky little routes from the tight end position, although I do think Bellinger does need some work as far as when it comes to blocking and helping out Evan Neal on that side. He had a pretty bad day in the blocking game, but I like how they schemed him open. A lot of plays we couldn't connect on early on in the half, too, but I do like the game plan. I thought Kafka called a good game plan, but as far as the players go and the personnel, they're not executing this game plan to the highest capability. But I think we got to rely on this running game a little bit more. We're starting to see that the Giants really don't have major playmakers out there outside of Saquon Barkley and what Daniel Jones has been able to do from the quarterback position. I'm still right here with Daniel Jones. He's playing good ball right now. I've said in the past that Daniel Jones has been playing average football. I think he's kind of trending towards playing good football now, just above average, and putting his team on his back. But we're lacking people in that wide receiver department. When it comes time to make a big play and it comes time to make, those windows I like to talk about and diving through those windows, it's almost as if right now with the injuries and what's been happening with the Giants, we just don't have the playmakers out there on the field to be able to, really put us over the top. And we're going up against a backup quarterback, but I think this was very different in this situation. Cooper Rush played last night like a starter, I believe. He got rid of that ball quickly. He made things very difficult on our defense. I forget who was saying it. I think it was Big Pat last night. He was saying that it seemed like Kayvon Thibodeau was like the king of the almost sacks, like getting really close to the quarterback, but just not being able to get over the hump and really get to the quarterback and get him down. And Kayvon Thibodeau, he had a pass deflection. That was the closest he got to the quarterback all night. No one got any sacks on the quarterback, and I think that really showed that we were missing Leonard Williams in this game in a major way. But Saquon Barkley has been the consistency of this team. He's the one who is, what we're going to get out of him now week in and week out. And I can expect to see Saquon Barkley right at the top, man, as far as running backs go. I think he's going to be a top 5 running back this year. It all depends on the health of this team, though, because if we can do things where we can keep teams off balance and implement some of this pass, it's going to open up things for Saquon Barkley even more. He couldn't do much in the passing game. 45 yards receiving is pretty good, but he just couldn't do too much, man. And I think that the weight of the world is on this guy's shoulders, man, and it must be frustrating for him. But I'm not too down on today. It's to come out of the first 3 weeks as a New York Giants fan and be 2-1. I don't think anybody expected that, and I think that would have been an obvious overreaction to talk about today. So I kind of kept that off. I just think that Saquon Barkley, he's a rock for this team, and Daniel Jones is starting to become that too. And I do think if Daniel Jones continues to play like this, even though the statistics when I bring them up, you'll see they don't really show like a lights out game. But if he continues to play like this and he can put touchdowns on the board, and at the end of the year he's got some decent stats, it's going to be a tough decision for the New York Giants to figure out what to do, because if we see progress and we're winning games and Saquon Barkley can continue to put up these kind of numbers, and you got Daniel Jones playing decent football, to just kind of pull that out from underneath the legs of the New York Giants, who are in a rebuild but are a team that seems to be on the up and up, it might be a drastic move. If you can find a way maybe to get Daniel Jones back and draft a rookie quarterback, if the New York Giants are winning games here in 2022 and we can make a run for the playoffs, I think that'll yield pretty well for the New York Giants, and it'll make a decision for them. I mean, even me, I wouldn't know what to do. I don't get paid the big bucks to figure out what, how to move forward from the quarterback position and things like that. But I know one thing. When you're a head coach, you don't want to come in this league, win a few games early and often, and then have a regression and a setback, when you make a move at the quarterback position. I mean, I even look at like the Chicago Bears, man. When they had Andy Dalton out there, it seemed like they were a better team that could maybe win more games with a game manager who was, has some experience and is kind of smart, Now you bring in Fields, and you see that regression a bit. Even though he's learning on the job, you do see a bit of that regression, man. But for me, I mean, I just love what I'm seeing out of Saquon Barkley. I can't harp on it enough, man. He's been the one guy who's been doing a hell of a job, man, for this New York Giants team. So big shout out to that man, Saquon Barkley, doing big things. Now, before I get off into a little bit of the Daniel Jones talk and some more of these statistics, I wanted to bring attention to a major injury that we had last night. So let's talk about the man they like to call Riggs over there on Big Pat Sports Talk, man. Had a good time chopping it up, talking with them about Sterling Shepard as well. Now, man, it's so unfortunate that now the news just came out this morning. If you missed it, man, Sterling Shepard is going to be out for the year, man. Suffered a torn ACL. And, I tweeted this out right when it happened, man. This is the most interesting non-contact injury that I've ever seen in my entire life. And top 3 non-contact injuries for me are all New York Giants. It's really crazy. Granted, one of them wasn't wearing blue when it happened, but the Odell Beckham knee tear in the Super Bowl was just like, what's happening? I mean, he's running a basic crossing route on a mesh concept, and you just see him just collapse. His knee goes down. The tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals was saying something about that, I think it was for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was saying something about like recognizing that the turf can be like slick from the paint, and that sometimes the coaches will warn them to stay away from certain parts of the field during warmups that they realize are more of a tougher surface. And in this one, man, you see it's just a routine route from Shepard. It almost seems like he's just a decoy route on a play, not even expecting to get the ball. Kind of just starts to slow down a little bit. He's barely running. Reminded me of the Saquon Barkley ankle turn a little bit, like kind of took his eyes off the play a little bit. He's just kind of just waiting for the play to end to get back to the huddle. Seemed like they knew who they was going to go to on that play. And then he just comes up limping, and you see him. He grabs that knee, man, and he's like in excruciating pain. And I was fearing the worst right off the bat. A lot of people were tweeting out, this was going to be the end of Sterling Shepard's career, and I was crossing my fingers hoping that there could be a miracle for him. But we get the worst news that we could possibly get on a Tuesday morning, and it's that Sterling Shepard is going to be out for the year, man. And he was having a pretty decent game. He was the leading wide receiver for the New York Giants, and I know that doesn't say much in a game like this where the receivers really couldn't get clicking, but he had 5 receptions for 49 yards. He's been our most targeted wide receiver throughout the year. He had 10 targets in this game, and he had 10 targets last week as well. He had a long of 16 yards on the day. It's been a frustrating couple of years here for Sterling Shepard, man, and this is going to be, it reminds me of the Odell Beckham injury, man. It's like this is going to be a major, major, major uphill climb for him if he's going to try to get back. And from his reaction, man, when he was getting carted off on the field, it kind of gave me hope because you didn't see like that. I was at the Washington game last year when Nick Gates got carted off the field, and you really saw Nick Gates kind of give like a wave that was kind of like, man, I'm gone. It's over for me. This season is definitely done. And you really didn't get that from Sterling Shepard. I kind of saw him kind of smiling a little bit. Saquon Barkley went over, patted him on the back. Man, I was hoping for the best, but it's unfortunate that we get this bad news about Saquon Barkley. And y'all know this wide receiver room is definitely struggling, man. So we need all the help that we can get, man. Right now you got guys like David Sills out there getting snaps, and we saw the fall on that exact play where David Sills goes down and Daniel Jones throws his only interception of the day. And it just, this is just more of what we were used to from last year, just no help for the quarterback. Shout out to my homie NYG Crush. She talked about this, that how much Daniel Jones just is getting no help out there. And I got to keep it real. outside of Saquon Barkley, he's really getting no help. I think in the passing game, you could argue that Daniel Bellinger's doing a decent job out there as far as receiving. Blocking wise, definitely struggling. But it's been tough for the kid, man. And now to have Sterling Shepard go down, I don't know what the Giants are going to do here, man. Their health has been a major issue for us the last couple of years, especially in the wide receiver department. And now you got, Kadarius Toney sidelined with the hamstring. What's my guy, the second round pick? Wan'Dale Robinson, dealing with a day-to-day injury with the knee injury. It's been excruciating for New York Giants fans to watch this wide receiver core game in, game out, go out there and really not produce too much. We're going to talk about Kenny Golladay, man. I kind of was giving him the pass last night. Last night I was being very forgiving on Twitter, because this team starts off 2-1, and I don't want to just be one of those people that they already surprised me with my expectations going 2-0. You fall to 2-1. I don't want to just completely revert back to my expectations and where I thought the Giants were going to be at maybe like 6 wins on the season, somewhere between 6 and 8 wins on the season. So for me, I think, there is some positive to look at in this game, and moving forward with this team. And I think we got to start the quarterback position for sure. Now, Daniel Jones, man, on the day, 20 of 37. These numbers are a bit misleading, if you ask me. 196 yards. Man, that PI call that they called that came back late on Sterling Shepard, that was super unfortunate, too, because that was a big play, and that was a big play to Kenny Golladay. Not only did Kenny Golladay need that, Daniel Jones needed that. People have been talking about Daniel Jones being a bit of a game manager, and there's no way the Giants are going to win a lot of games with Daniel Jones throwing under 200 yards a game. They comparing him to a worse Jimmy Garoppolo, who he averaged 188 yards per game last season. Now, for me, man, Daniel Jones, we already know. I'm never the one to make up major excuses for Daniel Jones. That's just not my swag, right? But this is the game. If you're going to make up some excuses, make them up for this game for Daniel Jones, man. He was on the run all night, man. He was sacked 5 times on the day, 42 dropbacks. He ran 9 times for 78 yards, 8.8 yards per carry. So you cannot forget, most of Daniel Jones' damage in this game came from his legs. Multiple first downs from his legs. When the team was down by 7 and you really needed some plays and to extend some drives, Daniel Jones did an incredible job of putting his team on his back and running for first downs. I mean, at times where I thought he was going to be tackled, the dude was running for his life, finding ways to get near that sideline, reach out, and be able to get these first downs. And then you get Saquon Barkley breaking the big run that really, put us a tie game for the New York Giants at that point. I'm feeling really good. I do feel like we left a couple things out there early on in this game. To go to the half again with a dismal performance by the offense, 3 points in the half, that's very frustrating, man. We had one of our first games, we had 0 points at the half, and another against the Carolina Panthers, we had 6 at the half. The Giants aren't going to be able to find a formula for success like that. You got to find ways, and the Beard is always talking about this, man. Shout out to the Beard one time, man. He's always talking about this because you need in-game adjustments, right? That's very important to get the adjustment going at the half, right? We know that. It's a no-brainer for a good head coach in the NFL. But you also got to be able to make in-game adjustments within the quarters. If you see halfway through a quarter that the running game's not working, or you're not finding ways to open up holes, then you gotta do something to adjust that and fix that. Same thing goes for the passing game. If things aren't clicking, we need more of a backup plan, especially with the way that this wide receiver core has been playing. Now, 41.6 QPR. Daniel Jones is coming off last week where his QBR was right around 37. So it's a bit of a bump up, and he had a lot of incompletions early on in this game. And then late in this game, when the Dallas Cowboys made a major adjustment, I want to look up the roster, but I don't want to take up too much time. But it was number 6. I can't remember who it was, but late in the game, starting around the end of the third quarter, late in the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, they had a quarterback spy on Daniel for the rest of the game. You really saw it show up on the last drive, second to last drive, the one where Graham Gano made the second 51-yard field goal, and we were getting backed up so much. Daniel Jones actually had that last intentional grounding. We end up losing a down. And he was running for his life that whole entire drive, especially once we got past the 50. And I think it was just very apparent there that for the people that thought that we were going to draft a rookie, or the people who thought the Giants should spend 8 draft picks on offensive lines and, just invest all this capital in the offensive line, especially in a, directed towards the youth in the draft, you got to understand that this term, he's pro ready. I saw one of my homies on Twitter say this. We got to throw that away. Like, even a guy who you will consider pro-ready is not ready to come into the NFL and just be a dominant piece, especially when you play in the tackle position, left or right. You know, that it's very difficult to protect for these quarterbacks. You know, a guy like Rashawn Slater came out last year and showed that, yeah, he could do that, but we got to stop using the anomaly as the example. That's not a good way to look at things and be able to have balance when you're trying to assess the game. Now, we know Evan Neal he got his ass beat yesterday in this game. And they even tried to have the tight end stay in and help him out a little bit. And I thought Bellinger was not doing a good job of that. And there's just no chemistry along this front across the board, man. Like, there's just no chemistry. I saw a false start on Evan Neal late in this game that you had to put that one on Feliciano. Daniel Jones was calling the signals back there, and you could tell he wanted the ball, and Evan Neal was trying to get a decent jump. He had Micah Parsons lined up on him on this particular play, and he was trying to get a decent jump. And he's feeling the rhythm and the cadence, and Feliciano kind of snaps it a bit late, and now you got a false start on Evan Neal. They're just not gelling up front. The left guard position has been horrible through 3 games, and I think that's the biggest weakness on this offensive line. Yeah, Evan Neal had a horrible game, but at left guard, I mean, we're just getting beat up. Ben Bredesen getting beat up. I didn't see Joshua Ezedu a lot in this game. I don't know if he got any snaps in the second half, but in the first half, he got no snaps in this game. Glowinski getting beat up all day. So I think right now, we really saw the deficiencies offensively with this team. They've been trying to, do some upgrades, and you expect an offensive coach to be able to find a way to make worse talent look a little bit better. I'm not seeing that. I'm just not seeing that right now. I'd say you could maybe say that about Richie James right now, who's a guy who was very unexpected to see him come out of here and lead the New York Giants in receptions and in yards. But, yeah, as my man G-Man88 just said in the chat, this offensive line is a problem in a major way. And it seems that as the games go along, right, they get a little bit better for the most part. Outside of that adjustment that I'm talking about where they put that QB spy on Daniel Jones, this offensive line had real problems. But in the first half, they were Daniel Jones just looked like he just was not comfortable the first half of this game, and a lot of it had to do with that offensive line. It seems as though when the game starts to move along, though, they do get a little bit more comfortable, especially in the first 2 weeks. I got to, use this week as an exception because we definitely just, fell apart in the second half offensively, especially with that front, man. And we got dominated in the trenches in this game, too, just both sides of the ball, offense, defense as well. Shout out to Lake Nona one time in the building, man. What's going on? And didn't really get to get many shout-outs going before the show, man. But shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. I know, a lot of people want to at least, get their thoughts off, hear some Giants talk early on in the day, man. I almost went live last night, man. And I was hoping that somebody was going to have a live I could tap into, and that's why I popped up and went on a Big Pat show and had a good conversation with them over there. Shout out to Big Pat and them. Make sure y'all go sub up to them if you're not subbed up to them. But, I needed the therapy session as much as y'all did, to keep it real with you. I try to remain even keel and not panic. I know this is the Giant overreaction, but I myself am trying not to overreact. I didn't expect this team to be crazy, and they came out here. We saw fight in this game. That's what I liked about it. Even from Evan Neal, he's getting beat out off the edge and whatnot. And he said in the post-game conference that this was his worst game he's ever played, and he thought about it again, and he was like, yeah, this is the worst game I ever played. He's probably not used to losing much, You get into the NFL, and everybody's just as good as you. You're dealing with the top-tier talent out there. But I saw a fight from him, I saw a guy out there who didn't quit. And I saw the same thing from the trenches on the defensive side of the ball, too. I know a lot of people are expecting, from the edge position here with Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari for things to just go maximum and just be like, okay, here we go. I remember people before week 1 being like, how many sacks are these guys going to get combined? And people saying 15 and 20 and all this stuff. We got to pump the brakes, man. This is a very young unit when we're talking about the edge rusher position here. So I just think we got to pump the brakes just a little bit, man, and just calm the expectations a bit. Kayvon Thibodeau's coming off a big injury. You can't compare everything to how the best situations happen for other people. And I feel like we're doing that with both sides of the ball in the trenches. I saw the excuses today for Evan Neal. A lot of people saying, oh, well, Andrew Thomas started off slow. Well, don't think that just because that happened with Andrew Thomas is going to happen with Evan Neal. Now, I'm not one who's jumping on this train of, hey, Evan Neal's a bust or anything like that. But I think he's got a lot of work to do. And we saw it in the preseason. He struggled. And I think having Andrew Thomas there, as a guy who did go through some struggles, it should help him out. He's got the experience now. He knows what it's like to come into the league as a rookie and, and be able to get over that hump, and Andrew Thomas dealt with, the switchings of offensive line coaches and all that stuff, and now seems to be one of the best left tackles in the NFL. So I'm proud of the work that Andrew Thomas has done, and I think that this team is on the up and up. I saw a lot of fight, man, especially from the quarterback position. Daniel Jones did not quit, man. And one thing I will say about Daniel Jones, it seems like when he gets down by 7, he just feels way more loose and comfortable. He's ready to go out there and put it all on the line when the game is on the line. And I know what that's like. I played a bunch of competitive sports coming up as a kid. I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball, and when you get down, you're not thinking about your reputation anymore. You're not thinking about what are they going to think if I make a mistake. You just go out there and you're trying to let loose. I can remember one time, and I know this is on a very smaller level, but one time in a flag football game that I had, we had to play a game with a man down, right? And it was an 8-person league, so we were playing with 7. And I went out there, man, and I swear to God, it was one of the best games I've ever had in football, ever, because there was no expectation. And it was a playoff game too. And I'm looking at it we're down a man. There's no way we're going to win this game. So you might as well go out there and just do you. And I feel like Daniel Jones does that. He got down by 7 in this game, and we saw probably the best Daniel Jones we've seen this year. In week 2 against the Carolina Panthers, the same exact thing. He gets down 7. Baker Mayfield and the Panthers come down. They drive down the field. They get that touchdown to DJ Moore, and Daniel Jones comes back, and he responds. Those are the things that are showing growth from him at the quarterback position, I think, that we didn't see last year as much, and I'm glad to see that. A lot of people were coming at me on Twitter this morning, right? And they were responding to a lot of my older tweets from during the game where I'm rooting for Daniel Jones. I don't know what people expect. I'm rooting for Daniel Jones to go out there and play his best football. Whether he's going to be a Giant here next year or not, I don't know. It's not my decision to make. And at the same time, I cannot change who they are going to put out there on the field at the quarterback position. All I can do is root my ass off for whoever's out there. If it's Daniel Jones, if it's Tyrod Taylor, if it's whoever, I got to root for whoever's at the quarterback position. Now, I might assess it, and some people might think it's harsh or whatever, but during the game, I'm hoping that Daniel Jones goes down there with 1 minute, 37 seconds left and drives us down there for a touchdown. I hate that it had to fall on the shoulders of David Sills falling on a route for us to lose that game. If we were going to lose that game, I wanted us to lose that game on the shoulders of Daniel Jones. I didn't want it to be a mistake by somebody else, because this is what we're talking about when we're having trouble assessing the quarterback position with a guy who's in his 4th season now as the New York Giants quarterback. This is why so many times in this game, and I ain't pinning nothing on the referees. I will preface it with that. The referees were very lenient towards the New York Giants in this game, especially in the first half. The holding call that they didn't call in the end zone, that was a blatant hold, and we got away with that, and the Cowboys end up coming away with 3 on that instead of coming away with 7. It would have been 1st and goal on the 1. With Ezekiel Elliott, the Giants are not going to stop him. So for me, the referees, they played their part well in this game. They had a couple against us. I think that PI call was pretty egregious. Sterling Shepard wasn't even looking at the guy. It was Trayvon Diggs that he hit. He wasn't even looking at Trayvon Diggs. That's what's so interesting to me about why they made that call. He got his head turned around right before the contact happens, and even tried to kind of jump and juke out of the way a little bit. So to me, that was really the only egregious call of the night. But outside of that, it's I just feel like the referees really gave us a fair shake in this game. And I don't know if that's because the Giants were the home team or what, but normally when we play Dallas, man, the referees play against us. So I can't blame the refs in this one. But, it just seems like the Giants, the offense is the major problem here. Granted, the defense did not have one of his better games of the day. The offense just seemed to just really struggle in this game the whole time, man. And, a lot of first downs on the ground. We had a lot of rushing first downs in this game. We had 10 rushing first downs on the day. So we had more than the Dallas Cowboys in that department. 22 first downs for the Giants, 23 for the Cowboys. We ran 6 more total plays than them. They only outgained us in total yardage by about just under 60 yards. The yards per play is where they got us. The New York Giants yards per play, 5 yards per play. The Cowboys had 6.4. And I do think that their quarterback just played a more efficient game. And I don't think that says anything about the way Daniel Jones played, because the help that he had was just that much better. And I think that the game plan that Kellen Moore called for Cooper Rush was just incredible. Finding ways for him to get that ball out very quickly. For a backup quarterback to come in here in this game and not get sacked one time says a whole lot. And we needed to win the turnover battle in this game. And instead, we had our own turnover. And, oh, man, I got to send a super, super shout-out to the homie William Steele, man. He does a channel with A to Z Sports, and he also does a show on The Volume on Colin Cowherd's network. And he invited me on his show to chop it up with him pregame about this game on Friday. And the one thing that he told me, he said, you need to watch out for the Dallas Cowboys special teams. He was like, this punt returner we got, this kid at punt returner, I believe his last name is Turpin. He was like, this kid is special. And man, if it wasn't for our punter on that punt return late in the game, I mean, he's taking that one to the house, and the Giants really don't even have a chance. I believe that the Giants defense held them to 3 after our punter stopped that kick return or punt return. It could have been a touchdown. So that really was a game-saving play, and the Giants go down by 10 there. Gives us a real shot because if you look at that second to last drive from Daniel Jones and the New York Giants, we start to get down there in field goal range, and then the pressure starts kicking in, and Daniel Jones really has no time to throw the ball on that third down. I don't blame him for getting the intentional grounding because he knows it's really the last shot, and if you could put up 7 there, you're going to make it a lot easier for you on that second drive. Kudos to the defense for stopping them with everything on the line after that, too, on that major 3rd and 7. You know, and stopping them to a 4th and 2 where I thought Mike McCarthy was actually going to go for it. I was super scared. And, you know, they end up punting the ball and the Giants get one more opportunity. And that's all I could ask for at the time, man. But, you know, Graham Gano, definitely kudos to Graham Gano. Pair of 51-yard field goals on the day. We got to find a way to get more pressure off that edge, man. Ojulari was credited with just 1 tackle on the day. No sacks, like I said, man. Thibodeau didn't really do much in this game. Didn't seem like a real factor. It seems like his physical presence is not showing up as well as it did in college in the NFL, which that's expected. He's gonna have to find ways to improve his moves too. I feel like because it seems a little bit limited with the moves, you know, the hand movement, things like that. But it'll get better with time. I think that with our 2 first-round picks, they're both going to shine a little bit more here. They're going to just get better. I don't expect them to get worse. This is the absolute floor for them. Kayvon Thibodeau in his first appearance, I didn't expect much, man. I just like to use my eyes, and when I saw him in preseason, he didn't seem like he was winning a lot of matchups. He's got to learn this curve for the NFL, man. That's just what it is, man. But I think we got a super chat here that I missed here, so let me get into that one time. Shout out to the homie one time too, man. Mr. Mini Guy in the building. Yo, yo, yo. How you living, brother? Let me zoom in here, man. Old man eyes getting a little bad here. He says, we bought into our own hype and paid the price. I'm not mad at the loss, just disappointed. I'm only mad at Kenny Golladay. Yeah, I definitely feel you on that, man. And while we're here, we should talk about that with Kenny Golladay. You talk about how you should be on the field, and you're frustrated, not being out there. Limited, only had 2 snaps in that second game, and I was surprised. I thought I saw that first drive, and I'm like, looking, where's 19? Where's 19? Where's 19 at? Right? Finally, start seeing him a little bit later in the game, and I'm like, okay, he's out there. Saw Trayvon Diggs break up one play they threw to him, and then you start to see the drops kicking in. Critical third down with that Kenny Golladay drop. I mean. And you coming off a play where, I believe the Kenny Golladay drop came after a Sterling Shepard. I'd call it a drop. It was kind of high on him, a little hot, but I'd call it a drop. And Kenny Golladay just not showing up, man. I looked at the third down drop that he had. It's so unfortunate, man. Like, technique-wise, the way his hands were positioned to catch that ball, somebody had it on Twitter in slow motion. He's, like, catching it, like, one hand on the bottom, one hand sideways. Like, I played wide receiver, and I played quarterback, and then they moved me to wide receiver because every time we was warming up when I was playing JV, they're like, damn, this kid could really catch. They moved me to wide receiver. You got to open the palms, man. You got to show the palms to the quarterback. CeeDee Lamb's drop, same exact thing. You trying to cradle a pass that's right on you like this and alligator arm it, that's not how they teach you how to catch in the NFL. And I know that the speed of the game is so fast, right? Like, sometimes you want to let that ball get into your body so that you're not overextended, and making yourself a bigger target to get hit. With CeeDee Lamb is no excuse. He wide open, the ball right on him. You can't drop that. With Kenny Golladay, there's a little bit of traffic there, and I understand, like, trying to catch the ball in there on your body, but you got to make a decision. You can't have one hand trying to catch with the palm open and then one hand trying to be underneath trying to catch it and trying to body catch it. Make a decision there. I think Kenny Golladay is just suffering from, like, not being able to get into a rhythm. I talked to Big Pat and him about this last night, and it's I tried to give him a bit of a just a pass a little bit, a bit of a fair shake, like give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt here. He hasn't been out in the field, right? But when you're getting paid this kind of money, you cannot drop passes like that when you're not making plays. And when you're not making plays is the most important part about that phrase, right? You look at guys like Jamar Chase, Keenan Allen, a bunch of other guys, Deebo Samuel, all of them, they're all up in the top of the league as far as drops go. Keenan Allen and Jamar Chase led the NFL in drops. but they're making hella splash big plays. Kenny Golladay has still yet to score a touchdown as a New York Giant. You know, the productivity that he's putting out there on the field has been completely horrid. And for me, it really makes me feel a certain way because I'm a huge Odell Beckham fan, right? And I don't like harping on, you know, what Dave Gettleman did and how that affects us going into 2022. But it does mean a lot. You gave this guy $74 million, right? He's making about $20 million a year, which is just about what Odell Beckham was making. So now you trade our best offensive weapon that we know works, right? You drafted a guy in Saquon Barkley in 2018 that you know works, okay? And then you trade away Odell Beckham, but then you go out there in free agency a year removed from that. First of all, you spent the $30 million on Golden Tate, which was a mistake as well. And then you spent $74 million on Kenny Golladay. So now we're talking about $100 million spent on the wide receiver 1 position when all you had to really do was just not trade Odell Beckham. Whether you think that the New York Giants won or lost the trade with Odell Beckham is neither here or there. What is here is $100 million has been spent on the number 1 wide receiver, and we still don't have one. It's unacceptable, man. And I got to put a lot of that, you know, onus on Dave Gettleman. But at the same time, now it seems like this regime is just stuck. You got a guy that you paying $74 million. You put him on the bench pretty much for week 2. You probably got a lot of pressure from the fans and from the player entering week 3 to give him some snaps. You give him some snaps, and the guy can't show up and show out. He's dropping the ball left and right. He had 0 catches. I'm trying to see what the targets were here, too. Let me see what the targets were as well. So the targets for Kenny Golladay were 3 targets on the day, and you dropped 2 of them. So one of them was broken up by Trayvon Diggs, but we're looking for Kenny Golladay to be a guy who can make the contested catch. I see people on Twitter still be talking about he's getting no separation. He's getting no separation. You really got to go back and study Kenny Galladay's game. Kenny Golladay is not a kind of guy that's going to be getting separation. That's just not the vibe, okay? He's a guy that just wins the matchup with his body, which to me screams that Kenny Golladay going later on into his career, he's 28 years old right now, so by no means is he like an old wide receiver, but he's also not young, right? I think it's time for Kenny Golladay to bulk up. You know, it would be smart for him to bulk up, like get bigger and become that more of like a possession guy. I think when you look at a guy like A.J. Brown, who A.J. Brown has a little bit of the speed as well too, but he relies more on his body and his positioning as a receiver. And I love what they're doing with Jalen Hurts. I said this last night to Pat and them too. And I'm gonna clip this up. So I'm gonna try to state this in the most proper way. The Giants need to take a page out of the Philadelphia Eagles playbook, okay? The way that the Eagles right now are utilizing A.J. Brown on the RPOs and the read option plays that they're setting this up with when they do RPO. They run that quick slant with A.J. Brown. He's wide open every time because you got people stacking the box trying to stop Jalen Hurts as a runner from the quarterback position, and their running backs are no slouches either with Miles Sanders. You know, they can definitely do things from the running back position. The Giants got to take a page out of their book. It's super important. We're running a lot of read option with Daniel Jones, not so much in this game, but we're running a decent amount of read option. And I think you got to add that RPO vibe to it so that we can try to get Kenny Golladay involved in the game plan. I don't know if, you know, this is the Giant overreaction, and I don't know if Brian Dable was going to go back to the drawing board and panic and pretty much put Kenny Golladay on the bench for the rest of the year. But with Sterling Shepard going out now for the rest of the season, I think you have to find a way to use Kenny Golladay in this offense if he's going to be in a New York Giants uniform. You got to find a way to be able to utilize him. And right now, yeah, a lot of the emphasis is on Kenny Golladay, 100%. He's not playing well. He's playing terrible football. But he's always been a guy that needed volume and be able to get into a rhythm. A guy getting 2 and 3 targets a game, and I told y'all I played the wide receiver position too. If I'm getting 2 or 3 targets a game and I drop the first one, my confidence up here is going to be shaken right off the bat. By the technique and the way he's trying to catch the ball, it tells me that something's wrong upstairs with Kenny Golladay, and it's between the ears a little bit. You got to get back to just playing football and just playing loose. We talked about that with Daniel Jones as well. But he's got to do that himself. And he's got to become that number 1 reliable target for Daniel Jones. Or moving forward, Daniel Jones is going to have trouble. And his statistics leaving these games are going to look a lot like this. A lot left out on that field. And I think the Giants got to find a way to utilize Kenny Golladay here, man. You got to find a way. That's the bottom line. So some of it is on the coaches, but more of it is on Kenny Golladay, the player. You come out in the media and your body, your mannerisms are showing that you're upset. If he would have just came out in that conference or in that interview and just been like, I got to just do what the coaches tell me to do as long as we can get a win, kind of like what Kadarius Toney said, people wouldn't be looking at Kenny Golladay today the same way. They would be like, hey, he had a bad game, but they wouldn't be like, yo, you got to get this guy out of town. Try to find a way to trade him right now. So that's my thoughts on Kenny Golladay. I'm going to still put out a video on Kenny Golladay. I thought that if the Giants did not play Kenny Golladay in this Monday night matchup, I wasn't even going to finish that Kenny Golladay video. But because he got snaps, I'm definitely going to try to finish that video and get that out sometime this week before we get off into the previews on Thursday. So look for that video to come out on Wednesday morning. And shout out to all y'all in the chat, man. I'm trying to keep this show super tight, man. And, I'm producing. I'm looking at the chat. We're doing a lot over here at Awthentik and the Beard. Y'all know what it is, man. Shout out to my guy, the strong side to my left side, man, the best co-host in the country, the Beard. Make sure y'all check us out tonight. We're going to be doing another live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, breaking down this game way more in depth. And we're going to be talking about the Washington Commanders and that Philadelphia Eagles game. They got trounced in that first half, man. I'm really looking forward to talking about that game as well. So make sure y'all pull up, man. Put that notification on and make sure y'all pull up. Y'all know what it is, man. Giants Nation in the building one time, man. All right, so we got to get into these overreactions, man. I want to recap the game and talk a lot about, our two best players on the field, man, which is definitely my man Saquon Barkley and that man Daniel Jones, man, doing big things in this game for sure. Y'all know what it is, though, man. Hit that subscribe button if you can, if you're digging the vibes over here at Awthentik and the Beard, man. We do the Giant Overreaction usually every Monday here around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, we kind of had to switch things up with the Monday night vibes. Y'all know what it is, man. But, so I got a clip I kind of want to start with before we get into the overreactions from Twitter and whatnot. And this one came from Colin Coward. It was his immediate overreaction, pretty much, I'd say it was his instant reaction to the game. And they were talking about Daniel Jones at the quarterback position and moving forward. And I kind of want to know y'all thoughts on this one. I'm going to keep the chat open. And right before I do that, I got to get to these couple of super chats. I did see those. Let me not let that slip my mind one time and scroll down here. Shout out to the homie one time. Tuto in the building. Y'all know what it is, man. Cowboys got that win.
Spike don't care.
It don't matter. We're going to move forward. We're going to try to get some more wins. Massive salute, Awthentik. And for all diehard Giants in America, slap all them stinky boys, losers, and F the cowards all day. Y'all know Tudo, man, big supporter of the channel, man. Hit me with the back-to-back Drake vibes right here with the super chats. Always talking about them stinky birds over there in Philly. Definitely got to find a way to catch up to them birds, man. They sitting at 3-0 right now, looking like a powerhouse in the NFC. You notice I ain't say East. NFC. I saw a couple rankings come out today, and the Philadelphia Eagles were the #1 ranked team in the power rankings in the NFC East. Shout out to the homie one time, Marcus Hardison in the building, man. Welcome to the fam, brother. Good to see you in the building. I appreciate that. $4.99 super chat one time. He says, new subscriber, Cowboys fan who loves your common sense approach when talking about your Giants. Salute, bro. We welcome everybody over here, man, at Awthentik and the Beard, man. Welcome to the fam. And a big victory, man, for your Cowboys yesterday, man. So big salute to y'all, man. People was ruling y'all out after week 1. Dak Prescott goes out with the injury. They thinking that the Cowboys is going to be dead in the water. And look, you got a backup quarterback out here. He's won now 2 games back-to-back, 3 games. This is what's most important to me about that, too, is that of the 3 games that Cooper Rush has won, 2 of them are primetime games, man. So the bright lights don't scare that kid. This was his first back-to-back start since college in 2016, where he had back-to-back starts. So, man, I know Jerry Jones was talking about the quarterback controversy that he wants over there. I don't think this will breed a quarterback controversy quite yet. But if Cooper Rush can continue to play ball, maybe you could try to find a way to maybe wheel and deal him for some money next year. We'll see what happens, man. But Cooper Rush looked real good last night. I got to give him his props, 1,000. And a shout out to Marcus. I hope I'm saying that right. Or if it's Marquez, might be Marquez. Hardison in the building. And, man, welcome to the fam, man. You know what it is. All right, let me make sure I got all them super chats one time so we can get to this. Y'all, I'm going to keep it funky with y'all. Y'all flying in the chat right now. We got 97 in the building one time. Let's try to bump that up to 100. Go tell a friend to go tell a friend, man. Awthentik is live right now doing his Giant Overreaction, man. And hit that subscribe button for Awthentik and the Beard, man. I swear, I'm going to keep it funky with y'all, man. We raising that bar one time, dog. Trying to bring y'all that high quality, man, that good information from the games. So make sure y'all pull up tonight at 7 p.m., man. I know the Beard going to have a bunch of nuggets, and he going to tell me how that roadmap went left for them Washington Commanders. I know I got a ton of nuggets for this New York Giants game. Trying to save some nuggets for later. Even though McDonald's don't reheat that well, we're going to save them nuggets for later. We're going to get that popping a little bit later at 7 p.m. But appreciate all of y'all pulling up in the building today, man. We deep and it's lit right now. Y'all know what it is. All right, I got one more from the homie. Let me see who this is one time. This is E. Levon. I hope I'm saying that right. 84 one time. Salute to you, bro. Appreciate you pulling up in the building one time, man. Y'all know what it is. He says, salute to authentic content. Substance with substance. Yo, that's a bar right there, my dude. Substance with substance. The A to Z chat was looking for you. Keep doing what you do, bruh. Signed a sober Cowboys fan. I like that, man. I appreciate you pulling up, man. I popped in last night on William Steele's instant reaction. I didn't get up early in time. Yo, I was up till I lie to you not, 6 a.m. last night, bro. Me and my girl was watching that Dahmer joint on Netflix, which it was just getting so crazy. I couldn't even pass out, man. And then everything going on with the New York Giants and whatnot, man, on Twitter. I definitely didn't get too much sleep, but I slept, man. I slept like a bear when I did get to sleep. I ain't wake up till about noon today, man. But definitely appreciate you pulling up. I'm not sure if William Steele does the show tomorrow. Let me know in the chat. I gotta pull up and show out for y'all, man, because y'all show me a lot of love on William Steele's channel, man. So I definitely appreciate that, man. Appreciate you pulling up. Enjoy this victory week, man. I enjoyed the first 2 weeks on a whole nother level, man. It was slow. Them weeks be so slow when you get the victory. So definitely enjoy it, man. Monday night game might make the week go by a little bit faster. I'm looking forward to the Thursday night matchup, though. I'm not too sure it's going to be in that game, but I need to get back to Sunday and see my Giants take on them Bears one time. But thank you for pulling up, man, and thank you for that $4.99 super chat, bro. That means a lot over here. All right, let's see, y'all. I told y'all I was going to try to keep it to an hour. We almost an hour in already, but the Giant overreaction shouldn't take too long. I got 3 overreactions from Twitter, and I got 1 from Colin Coward today. Shout out to Tudo too, man. What up, Tudo? He says, authentic, Rush ain't never better than DJ. Hell no. He's got a better O-line and support around him. Forget about it. Shout out to Tudo one time. Oh, and the Beard would say, what is it? Something Italy. I can't remember what he says, but it's something like go Italy or something like that. But shout out to the Beard. I think he's in the chat one time too. And shout out to Tudo, man. I appreciate that $4.99 super chat. Tudo is the biggest supporter of the Giants community, man. Show that man some love. Y'all know what it is. And I saw your comment too about the game. You re-aggravated your shoulder. That's unfortunate. I think you said you got the win. That's a good look. I think you said you got suspended for a game too. That's a bad look. Tudo, I'm going to need you to be a little bit more disciplined out there, man. But you know what it is. I appreciate you pulling up, my guy. All right, so let's get into this first overreaction. This one is from Colin Coward. I'm going to do an audio overreaction first, and then we'll get into some of the stuff from Twitter. But this is what Colin Coward was saying immediately after the game, and it kind of has a lot to do with what Tudo just said about Cooper Rush not being better than Daniel Jones. So let's take a look at this clip one time.
Young quarterbacks, you're like, they got a chance. They got a chance. I mean, yeah. Did you think they had a chance with him?
Well, Daniel Jones is the classic. If the pocket is clean and he has time to set up and throw, he's generally okay. But that's the description of a backup. The description of a starter is he can overcome a muddy pocket. If the play breaks down, he's special.
All these young.
All right, so what he basically saying there is Daniel Jones is a backup quarterback because he needs that pocket to be proper. Now, this is going to be the first overreaction. Y'all let me know what you're thinking in the chat one time about that statement from Colin Coward. I'm not sure who that co-host was, but he does the immediate reactions with Colin sometimes. But let me know what y'all think about this. Is this an overreaction on Daniel Jones? If you think Daniel Jones could be a starter in this league and he's not a backup, let me see some O's in the chat to represent that this is an overreaction by Colin Coward. If you don't think this is an overreaction by Colin Coward, then let me see you put the U in the chat and take the under one time. I see some of my OGs and my day ones already know what's up. They already dropping some of them O's in the chat, some of them U's in the chat. And also tell me the reason why you think that too. You know, if you think it's not an overreaction, tell me why you think that as well. And if you think it's an overreaction, same thing goes for that. Now, if you need a push and you need a little bit more time from Daniel Jones to see what he can do, maybe in a few more games here, go ahead and put the P in the chat or maybe put that hand emoji in the chat. And let me see what y'all talking about. It's crazy because this beat is called Talking About. That I'm about to play. We're going to let this rock while we look through this chat one time. All right, so we got my man Tudo in the building. Tudo says this is an overreaction. Dominic Joseph in the building. He says this is an overreaction as well. Shout out to Neymar one time. He hit me up when he was in D.C. on Twitter, man. I hope you enjoyed. Where did I send you? I think I sent you to like the Hamilton or something like that. I hope you enjoyed that. And you hit me up today talking about this too. He thinks it's an overreaction. Shout out Sebastian. Ça passe mon cher. Looking fresh in that new Avi. I see you, bro. He says this is an overreaction. Jordan also says this is an overreaction. Sabrina's in the building. Shout out to Sabrina one time. Appreciate you pulling up. Sabrina says this is an overreaction. Sabrina thinks that Jones can be a starter in this league. Chris Peace, man. Shout out to Chris Peace. Been pulling up a lot to these overreactions and a lot of the Authentic in the Beard content. He also thinks this is an overreaction. Kai says, and Kai is a Cowboys fan, so definitely no bias here, says Colin is a walking L. That's funny. I really like Colin Cowherd, man. I think he definitely has some takes that go wrong, but I think he's been trying to keep it pretty objective on Daniel Jones. Maybe not so much on this take here. He does seem to kind of trend towards a little bit like dogging Daniel Jones just a little bit. So I'm taking it that you think this is an overreaction. Rozelle in the building one time says he's taking the big U on this one, and he thinks Colin Cowherd is actually right. You know, he thinks Colin Cowherd is right that Daniel Jones is a backup in this league. He needs protection. James Earl Moans kind of going with the same vibes there as well. Who else we got in the building? We got a ton of people in the building today, man. I appreciate all the Giants Nation, everybody else pulling up, rocking with your boy Awthentik. Y'all know what it is over here, man. Everybody welcome too. Tudo's changing it up right now. Tudo talking about he wants the push now. Shout out JJM in the building. Welcome, bro. JJM's taking the O's for them things one time, entering week 4 in the NFL season here as well. So a couple of pushes too coming in. Tudo representing that push heavy one time. And Oscar Unrated, who I believe Oscar's a Cowboys fan as well. Got the long neck Mike Glennon over there one time. He says push. He might be a Jimmy G level starter. Who's on the edge of being a backup. That's interesting. Jimmy G's the definition of game manager to me right now. He does a good job of that. I think Jimmy G gives the San Francisco 49ers a better chance to win, too, over the young kid Trey Lance over there. But to say he's a starter, I'm kind of agreeing with you on that. Jimmy G's kind of like a fringe starter for sure. Gregory's taking the under, too. He thinks that Daniel Jones is a backup quarterback. Let me see here. What's this one here? He says William Steele will be back at it tomorrow morning. I'm glad I saw that because the chat was flying for a second and I couldn't see nothing. So back at it tomorrow morning. I think it goes on at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for me. Giants fans, definitely check out William Steele, man. Like, if you like the production quality over here at Authentic in the Beard, you're going to love William Steele's channel, man. Great takes, very objective as a Cowboys fan. And he's got a lot of insider information, too, man. He was at camp this year. He's doing some fantastic things for that Cowboys community over there. He'll be live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe the channel is called Cowboys A to Z Sports. Definitely check him out, man. He's great at what he does. If I had to say, like, yo, I'm looking at somebody else's channel for a comparison and looking how I could raise the bar for mine, it's definitely William Steele, man. This dude is bodying the content right now. I'm loving his content. Had me on the show on Friday, man, and everyone in that chat and that community welcomed me with open arms, man. It was a fantastic conversation I had with him. So definitely go check them out. Let me see what's up. Chris P says this overreaction. 2 years with Jason Garrett and Joe Judge. Enough said. I like that right there. That's a good point you bring up there. All right, so for me, man, the Colin Cowherd, I'm not going to say it's an overreaction, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the push on it because this year is very pivotal for Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones can show that with a competent play caller and head coach that he can win you games consistently and he can go out there and do, you know, what he did in this game. Because to me, this is a winning effort by Daniel Jones, but it just so happens the Giants just couldn't get the win because the help around him really wasn't that good. Let's just keep it funky. The offensive line was awful. The wide receiver core really was not that great out there. A lot of drops on the day. You know, the one to Sterling Shepard, a bit high. I know he's going to be out for the season. I don't want to rag on him right now, but that's a drop for me. You got to make that catch. You know, a lot of third down conversions left out there. Let me tell you what I saw from Daniel Jones in this game that I had never seen from him in his career. Okay? The one throw where they called back the pass interference, very accurate, but coming back from that is what really stood out to me. The throw where he had pressure barreling down, right down the middle, man, and he made a throw with a hand right in his face being completely killed to the outside corner, right along the sideline to Richie James. I mean, it was just a perfect, this is why we could call him Danny Dimes if he could maybe make consistent throws like that. Just a perfect throw. A real NFL starting caliber throw. Those are the kind of throws that great quarterbacks make. You see guys like Aaron Rodgers make throws like that all the time. A little bit of pressure in his face. It does not affect the throw. A perfect dime right to the sideline. Lands in the bucket for Richie James. And I love that he made the catch, man, because you hate to see a great throw and then somebody drop the ball when they get some contact. We also saw that early on from Sterling Shepard as well, too, man. The big third down conversion was a huge play. And then I forget who was in coverage. They came up and made a really good play, man. They raked the ball out of Sterling Shepard's hands. It kind of looked like it was a fumble on spot. referees ruled it a incompletion, which I do think was the right call. And I definitely want to bring this one up from Stan. Shout out to my homie Stan one time, man. Stan always dropping me awesome nuggets, man, in my Twitter DMs, man. And I know Stan's not on that Daniel Jones train right now, but he did say he played a pretty decent game yesterday. Excuse me. He says he's taking the under because I've seen Case Keenum go 13-3 with the Vikings with the team structured well. And how is Keenum same as Blake Bortles in 2017? Yeah, Blake Bortles, I think he won 2 playoff games, or maybe it was 1 and he almost won the other one. Definitely a good point there. So he's saying that, this isn't an overreaction from Colin Cowherd. And I think, Stan does. I'll say to Stan is hard on. Let me pause that real quick. I ain't gonna say he's hard on Daniel Jones. Stan won't give Daniel Jones the benefit of the doubt because of the history. And I don't blame him for that, right? It's like Daniel Jones has not played great football. So it's like when you see a game like this, and I agree with Stan on this, a game like this does not convince me that Daniel Jones should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. It's why I'm taking the push on it, right? But I do want to see what he can do later on in the year because the difference between these quarterbacks that you named here is they had talent around them, right? Daniel Jones really doesn't have much talent around him outside of Saquon Barkley. Richie James is stepping up in a major way for a guy who's not known to do that. He had the one big game in San Francisco, and that was it, as far as Richie James' career goes. And now you've seen this guy really fill in for a Wan'Dale Robinson who's banged up with that knee injury day to day. But outside of that, Daniel Jones really just doesn't have much talent around him. So if Daniel Jones, man, these dudes on Big Pat's show last night were saying that they expect Daniel Jones and the New York Giants to get about 10 wins this year. I'm not saying that yet, right? For me, I'm still sitting around my number, about 6 to 8 wins, because I want to see what they do against the teams on our schedule that we're supposed to beat, the Bears being one of them. So this is going to be a great Week 4 matchup. The Houston Texans, teams like that. I really want to see what they do against Washington, even though that game is late in the year. I'm probably going to go to both Washington games this year. I'm definitely going to the one down here in D.C. at FedEx Field, but I hear about a lot of people. I saw Bobby was talking about he's going to be up at the one in New York. I might head up for that game. And I saw tickets right now for that game. They're starting at like $30. So great time to go and get you some tickets for that game. It might be a meaningless game at the end of the year, but I think it'll be a good one to go out there and assess, the quarterback position. I want to see how we play against those teams, to be honest. Some of these expected wins on the schedule. Can we beat the teams that we're expected to beat? Because if that's the case and Daniel Jones can get us to like 9-10 wins, I think that says a lot for him. And then our coaching staff is going to have a little bit of trouble, man, like trying to figure out what to do when the season ends. If they're going to let him walk, if they're going to franchise tag him, or if they're going to give him a reasonable deal. Like, seeing the way Daniel Jones has played the first 3 games, I don't care either way. I think the Giants are going to draft a quarterback regardless, and it doesn't matter to me. If Daniel Jones can come back next year on a franchise tag or get a deal, I'm not going to be mad at it, especially if he's playing good ball. I think it's going to take some wins for them to be able to bring him back. So, but I do agree with what you're saying here, Stan. I just think that those 2 quarterbacks, they kind of had some help, man. They had some, surrounding pieces around them that they could rely on for sure to be able to go out there and get some wins. And Daniel Jones, man, the capabilities that he has with his legs, I think that's a bonus to his game. If he can start to utilize that in a smart way, get down, not take the big hits, we don't want to see Daniel Jones getting hurt on a run outside the pocket. If he can continue to do that, man, I think he's doing a good job at the quarterback position. I'm not saying he's playing great. He hasn't played great football yet. But under the circumstances, I think he's playing really good right now. But shout out to Stan, man. That's my bro right there, man. We got to link up, Stan. I know you out there in town, so we got to link up one of these days. I went out the other night. I should have hit you up. But we definitely got to link up. So for me, that first one, I'm taking the push on it. I was leaning a little bit more towards, it was an overreaction. But I'm taking the push on that one for now. Let me just scroll and catch up with the chat one time here. Make sure we good on that. And then we'll get to the next overreaction for sure. Appreciate all y'all being active, too, in the chat, man. I love to see y'all having y'all many conversations with each other out here as well, man. That's awesome, man. And I appreciate everybody in the building right now. We sitting still at 97 in the building. That's love. Let me just make sure we caught up here, man. Y'all active right here. Shout out Jeffrey one time here. I gotta present the bad as well, too. I'm not going to be like one of them dudes that just present everything that's going well with the quarterback. He says kicker outscoring the quarterback each week is pathetic. You're right about that. That's very pathetic. And that is on the quarterback. That's on the wide receiver core. That's on the coaches, play callers, offensive line. That's on all of them. But we know in this day and age, and maybe for the history of the NFL, quarterback, they're going to get high praise when you win and when you play well, and we're going to dog them when they play bad and you take L's. That's what it is. No, bars right there from Awthentik. Y'all know what it is, man. All right, still just catching up on this chat one time. Let's see what we got. Okay, we all good. We all caught up. So let's go to this first overreaction one time here that we saw on Twitter. This year I talked about this, man. I'm not going to be, showing the names that much of who are sending out these tweets because I want that to remain private for them. I don't want y'all trying to attack them. But if y'all want to go out here and search some of these keywords and some of these tweets and whatnot, you can go do your thing. It's on you, man. If you want to be, do a little investigation, that's on you. Do your thing, all right? But the first one I'm going to start off with, this one was funny, and I am going to bring attention to who this was. This is an ex-NFL player. Charles Johnson, I believe it is, tweeted this one out. He's at CJ Deuce on Twitter. And he said, Daniel Jones is just as good as Josh Allen. He just don't have an offensive line. Good night. Now, he tweeted this out right before the last drive. And, before the Daniel Jones interception and whatnot. Tell me what y'all thinking about this one. Is this one an overreaction? I'm going to bring up a reaction that we got from Darius Butler, who was on Pat McAfee show all the time, man. Darius Butler has great takes, man. And if you're not subscribed to Pat McAfee, I definitely recommend you subscribe to them. Very laid-back vibes, man. Reminds me of me and my homies when we just talk about football and chop it up, man. They clowning all the time, bunch of jokes. It's a great show, and it's something that you don't got to take too seriously. Like, I saw a lot of Washington Commanders fans the other day. They were ragging on Pat McAfee about a take that he said about Carson Wentz, that Wentz is always trying to go, for the big play. Like, he can't just throw the ball away or, just die on a bad play. He's always trying to maximize the capability of the play. And people are coming at him like, he didn't do that in the first 2 weeks. Now, I'm like, man, y'all got to pump the brakes, man. Don't take Pat McAfee and his show too seriously, man. They just be clowning, just be chilling. And I think that represents a little bit of what we do over here at Awthentik and the Beard. It's like, I'm a fan at the end of the day, man. Like, if you don't like my take, that's cool. That means you just disagree with my opinion. But when you start trying to attack people personally because of something they just say in their opinion about what they think about football, that's ludicrous, bro. And to me, that it kind of shows a sign of either your age, and y'all know I'm on Twitter all the time. When people say bozo stuff to me in the comments, I always ask them how old are you? And then they'll be like, why do you want to know how old I am? Well, I want to know how old you are so I can see how I got to treat this conversation, because if I'm talking to a child, I got to talk to you like you a child until you prove to me otherwise. Now, it could also scream something about the maturity as well. Like, if you feel like somebody has a different opinion, you got to attack them and call them a clown and, you don't know this and blah, 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 whatever. To me, that says a lot about you. It says more about you than the person that you are attacking. So a lot of people talking about this one that's on the screen right here. Shout out to a man of the culture one time in the building. He says, as an agenda pusher myself, I love how he prefaced that with that. As an agenda pusher myself, I respect the statement, but that is a big overreaction. Definitely feel you on that, man. I thought it was a bit of an overreaction myself. I don't got to hide my thoughts on this one too much. I'm like, this is an overreaction. And when he tweeted this one out, I was talking about Darius Butler, and he said, yeah, take your ass to sleep expeditiously. He used one of them T.I. adjectives one time. That was Darius Butler talking to CJ one time on this one. I thought he was kind of right on this one. Like, I don't, but I do think that this game showed that Daniel Jones is not miles away from a Josh Allen. To me, the biggest difference with Josh Allen and Daniel Jones, it's easy to kind of say a statement like this that's on the screen too after a bad week from Josh Allen. But to me, the biggest difference between Josh Allen and Daniel Jones is arm talent. The arm strength from Josh Allen is ridiculous. But also, I mean, I don't like to bring up hypotheticals and think about it. Everybody's always bringing up hypotheticals about quarterbacks playing in New York. I saw him today too. No quarterback could win behind this offensive line. And, Daniel Jones, there's no way he's going to succeed behind this offensive line. But I will bring up this hypothetical. If you put Daniel Jones in the Buffalo Bills team right now and allowed him to go out there and play, with Stephon Diggs, who I think is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL right now, and, the weapons that they're exposed to over there, Gabriel Davis, Devin Singletary at the running back position, Dawson Knox at the tight end position, an offensive line that is gelled well and they have the chemistry up front, a play caller, and what's my man from Miami? His name is slipping me. Dorsey, doing some good things. And that clip of him going wild in the booth upstairs was correct. I mean, he was throwing things everywhere. And I feel him because Josh Allen in that offense, they got themselves in position and they just couldn't get the ball clocked. That's unfortunate. But I will say, if you put Daniel Jones in that scheme, he would look a lot better. That's kind of what Stan was talking about earlier, is when you take a guy who's maybe average, above average kind of vibes, you put him on a good team and he can excel. So I see where CJ Deuce was going with this, But to me, this one is definitely this was probably the biggest overreaction I saw on Twitter all last night when I was scrolling. And Jeffrey says, put number 8 on the Bills, Stephon Diggs won't have as many touchdowns or receptions. That's true too. Yeah, I'm not saying that he would play like equally to the caliber of a Josh Allen if he was on the Bills, but I mean, Daniel Jones, just like Colin Cowherd said, if you give him time, he's going to get things done. That's bottom line, but that goes for a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. If you give a guy like Baker Mayfield time, he might be a good quarterback. So I don't think it says that much. I can't lean one way or the other too much, but I mean, I feel you on that. Diggs might regress, but the chemistry that they've built with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, they did that in a very quick manner. They as soon as Stephon Diggs got over there, you just saw like a totally different quarterback. I'm one that was late around the curve, of Josh Allen's, his elevation and his play. I was a little late, and I even after the first year, I was one that was saying like, "Yo, let him prove it for another year." And I blamed it on I gave a lot of the credit to Stephon Diggs being the number 1 over there. I'm like, you bring in a guy like Stephon Diggs, and that's what makes Josh Allen the quarterback he is. But I think seeing it for a couple more years now, I don't think that's the case. Josh Allen has shown that, like, yeah, man, he's that dude. Didn't have that great of a game. They started off pretty slow in that game on Sunday, and they ended up taking the L. But they're still my Super Bowl front runner along with the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC. But we'll see, man. I think Daniel Jones has a lot of football left. For me, it's getting better. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this in the chat. This was Daniel Jones' best game of the year. I don't think statistically it looked like it, but it was his best game of the year so far, the first 3 games. He showed that fight. He showed that resilience, running for his life the whole night. I showed the little Forrest Gump Jones when he was running through the football field the first time. That's how Daniel Jones looked last night. He had no time. He was pressured. I want to say it was on 24 dropbacks, which is like, come on, man. How's a quarterback supposed to excel in that? And he's doing a good job rolling out of the pocket and making plays with his legs and finding ways to get first downs. I think Daniel Jones played a really good game, man. And some of these tight window throws he had, they were really good. So I'm not mad at Daniel Jones this morning. I'm not going to rag on him today, and I ain't going to talk too much junk about him. I think he did a good job in this game. And, if he's working with what he got, that's all he could do right now. He can't really do too much. You got to try to find a way to elevate your play. But if I'm Daniel Jones, I'm going to the coaching staff and I'm saying, listen, we have to find a way to get Kenny Golladay involved. We don't have the depth anymore, and the Giants are going to have to do something. We're going to talk about this on one of these other reactions as well, too. But they're going to have to do something at the wide receiver position. I think it's very important that they do that. Like, you got Sterling Shepard out now for the year. Sills is, to me, it doesn't benefit you taking Kenny Golladay off the field to put David Sills in the game. They're very similarly built. They run very slow out the block, both of them, very slow out the block, and they don't get in and out of the routes very fast, So for me, it's like, I think Kenny Golladay has more proof on paper. It don't look like it this year. David Sills has 2 catches in this game, I believe, for 20 yards. Week 1, Kenny Golladay, 2 catches for 22 yards. He only had 2 snaps week 2. So to me, it's like it's a wash for them. Like, I don't see no benefit in David Sills, but I will say this. The Giants are suffering from losing Colin Johnson to that season-ending injury in the preseason. I think he would have been the guy that would have been getting the snaps, and he had rhythm with Daniel Jones, I felt like, kind of like how Richie James does. And for him to go down, it's kind of unfortunate. I think that's why David Sills makes the roster. But maybe the Giants go back and they turn to Alex Bachman, who's not really a guy who can fill in for Kenny Golladay or David Sills, but he can do some damage out of the slot. And I even thought maybe you bring Richie James and try to get him to play a little bit outside. Richie James seems like a real versatile tool. You see him doing it in the special teams game, and he does it at the wide receiver position. They tried to scheme him up some little short passes to be able to get some screens for him and things like that. It didn't work out too well yesterday. But, I think Richie James is the kind of guy, his skill set looks like you could move him around and maybe put him on the outside, similar to what they did with Sterling Shepard. I believe that was in 2020. So we'll see what they do, man. I'm going to be keeping my eyes and ears peeled today and for the rest of the week to see what the Giants do. Shout out to Neymar. He says this too, bring in OBJ, Will Fuller, or T.Y. Hilton. Now, I would absolutely stay away from T.Y. Hilton. His productivity completely just dropped off over there. And when you saw Michael Pittman kind of start to emerge, you would have thought that T.Y. Hilton could have still been that deep down the field threat. But I will say this, the one thing about T.Y. Hilton is he does got some speed. I think he could stretch the field. Darius Slayton, maybe we get Darius Slayton a little bit more involved. He was out there on the field for a couple snaps as well in this game. But I don't know about T.Y. Hilton. And OBJ seems like it wouldn't be a thing until after October. So You got to find a way to go 4 games. I think this wide receiver needs to be addressed now. Will Fuller, he's decent. He's got his off-the-field issues and the injury problems, but I like Will Fuller, and he's another wide receiver who can stretch the field. So I think you brought up the 3 top names as far as stretching the field, so I like what you presented here. We'll see what they do, man. I'm leaving this one on the coaches. I would welcome OBJ back with open arms in the New York Giants locker room, but I don't know how much that would yield well for his career, and what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to probably get another ring right now. And shout out to Rozelle. He says maybe Fuller for sure. I kind of agree with that too. I think of those 3 names, Fuller might be the name. It all depends on if he's game ready and in shape too. You would hope that he's in shape. He had a lot of off-the-field issues. Injuries have definitely been a problem with him. He had that hamstring issue a couple years back, man, where he just couldn't stay on the field. And then Kai, shout out to Kai. Kai says Terrell Owens still wants to play. And I saw Terrell Owens running routes. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to give him a workout, right? It wouldn't hurt to give him a workout, I think. You know what I'm saying? So Terrell Owens is kind of old. I'm not going to dismiss anybody and doubt anybody. We'll see what he could do. And James Earl Moan says I'd bring in John Ross back for cheap, which you could definitely do. And Ross can stretch the field. I think the body type probably don't really work out for that outside position too well, but he did play some of the outside when he was here with the New York Giants just last year too. So we'll see. Maybe there was something that this coaching staff didn't like about him, and that's why they, didn't sign him. Shout out to the chat 69XYZ, man. It's not a show if you don't get no bots in there, man. So shout out to the bots one time. Hopefully one of the mods could jump on that if they haven't already. But let's get to this next one time, man. Let me see. I had 2 more. I'm gonna save. I'm going to say that other one for last. That one's tough. Man. All right, let's see here. I got to just move a couple things around. Y'all bear with me here doing the production alone. All right. And let's get to this next overreaction or maybe an underreaction. We'll see what y'all think about this one time. This one came from Jordan Renan, beat writer for the New York Giants. He said the Giants' answer at wide receiver is going to come from within. And I wanted to bring this one up next because we were talking a lot about bringing in some free agents or, bringing in some other players, some other talent, maybe some old talent as well for the New York Giants. But he says, no Odell Beckham Jr. I thought that was strange that he singled out Odell Beckham Jr. on this. He said that isn't happening. No established vets who are going to cost money. Giants are cap strapped. What do y'all think about this one right here? Is this an overreaction from Jordan Renan, or are you going to take the under and you think that the Giants are going to have to figure this out from within? Let me know what y'all think in the chat one time. I'm going to let this music rock for like about 20 seconds, give y'all a little bit of time to populate y'all answers and get a little swig of this Coca-Cola one time. Y'all know what it is. Man, when I do these shows by myself, man, like, dog, I be rapping, dog. Be getting dry as a mug in this joint. Like, I don't really like having like stagnant time when I do these shows like that. I want it to feel engaging and keep it popping. Somebody just like texted me, Giants by 17, quote me. That didn't happen. I wish that would happen. All right, so I give y'all enough time to get y'all answers populated there one time. See what y'all talking one time in the chat, man. Shout out to Word one time in the building, man. I appreciate you pulling up, my guy. Says Bachman will be cool to bring back. Yeah, I follow Bachman on Twitter, man. He's just a really good dude, too. He actually, like, I'll DM him and stuff, and, like, when I see him making plays and whatnot, and the dude actually responds, man. He's very thankful to be in the position that he is. He's a very dedicated man to the Lord too. You can tell he's very church going type of dude and whatnot, very spiritual and whatnot. He's the kind of guy that I was rooting for, man. I really wanted him to make this roster, but it just seemed like we were just like too many pieces at that slot position for Bachman to be able to get a spot on this roster, and we needed some body types. So let's see, man. It seems like everybody wants to take the push, man. I see a bunch of pushes right off the bat. Word took the push one time. Tudo took the push one time. Jameson took the push one time. I think this is a really good response right here, too. Shout out to Kai. Kai says this is an overreaction. I think you guys are going to have pull out some draft capital and they trade for a top guy. Wow. For me, something like that would seem to be like that would have to happen a little bit later in the season, closer to the trade deadline. But it depends, because if the Giants start to lose some games, man, we don't want to trade no draft capital, bring in a top guy that might not be able to even produce. I mean, it seems like Kenny Golladay was a top guy, and he's just not producing within this offense right now, too. So I don't know, man. I think I agree with some of these people up in the front, man, like bookend tackles, Tudo, my man Jameson in the building. Shout out Jamo in the building. With the push, because I kind of got to just wait to see what happens. The Bears, I'm not looking over the Bears, but the Bears are a kind of game that give you a buffer, right? You could go into that Bears game with the core that you have right now, maybe just elevate somebody from the practice squad or bring in somebody that you cut that already knows the system and stuff like that. Because the Bears, right now, their defense isn't playing horrible, but offensively, they've been struggling to put up points on the board. And I think the Giants could go out there and win with a raggedy kind of wide receiver core dealing with a bunch of scraps. Hopefully they let us know something on Kadarius Toney, man, and that injury. And same thing goes for Wan'Dale Robinson. Like, if we can get those guys back, I think it'll really elevate this wide receiver core, and you can kind of utilize the short passing game, to try to gain some yards and get past these sticks and things like that, rather than trying to get the deep play. Oh, man, and you know what I wanted to bring up? I wanted to bring up Daniel's his passing chart from Next Gen. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. We've only been live for about an hour and 15 minutes, and we're already getting through these. So let me see if I can't pull that up. I think I had it. Let me see where that's at one time. I hope I saved it. I really do hope I saved it. That wasn't it. I don't think I saved it. Yeah, let me check one more spot. Maybe up in here. I did not save it. Yeah, I didn't save the passing chart, but the point I wanted to bring up about the passing chart is a lot of his passes were outside the hash marks and 10 yards or less. The Giants got to find a way to stretch it down the field, and if not, utilize the short passing game, man. Where are the stop routes? Where are the hitch routes? Dare I say, give me a comeback route. I know a lot of people not going to like that after what happened with Jason Garrett. But also, like, setting up the screens. Saquon Barkley got us back in a position on that 3rd and long after that screenplay, man. He picked up like 18 yards, or like, I think it was like 3rd and 18. He picked up 16 on the play. I want to see more of that, and then take those shots. Did we take any shots in this game? Did Daniel Jones throw the ball down the field, chat? Let me know, yo. Like, I don't remember seeing us taking any major shots in this game. There was like a 20-yard throw or something like that. I remember the one that got called back on the PI to Golladay. But like outside of that, where were the shots? We didn't take no shots in this game. First 2 weeks, I felt like we took a couple shots, man, especially that big one to Sterling Shepard in week 1. But this one, we just didn't take no shots. And shout out to Stan. He says, no, we didn't. Yeah, it just seemed like, and I can kind of answer my own question on this too. It's like, when your offensive line is playing this bad and you got guys on the outside that don't got the speed to burn down that field, there's no way these wide receivers going to get depth on the routes. How can we expect Daniel Jones to throw it down the field? That's the biggest problem, because the offensive line is super struggling up front. Same problem we kind of had in the Jason Garrett system. Jason Garrett is not known for not taking shots down the field. He would run those comeback routes all the time in Dallas, and those little short routes, sometimes in front of the sticks and whatnot, and then you get the big play to Dez Bryant later on in the game. We never saw it with the New York Giants because that offensive line was the worst offensive line in the league. And now it seems like, yeah, we did some things to kind of rearrange some pieces, but this offensive line is still looking really, really, really bad, man. Like, they got to find a way to be able to get Daniel Jones at least a little bit of time in that pocket to get the ball downfield. Shout out Unpopular Opinion Sports one time in the building. Got to chop it up with him last night on Big Pat's channel too, man, talking some real good stuff, man, about this offense especially, man. I think the defense is doing what they do right now, but that offense, they got to find a way to get it together for sure, man. But shout out to you on Popular Opinion Sports in the building one time. And Jordan corrected me one time. He said it was 27 pressures. I mean, come on, man. That's like you getting pressured on every throw. Every drop back, you getting pressured. So Giants got to find a way to, if you're going to keep the tight end in, make sure that tight end is going to be able to actually chip block or help out that right tackle, or if it's going to be on the left side, which we know we don't need much help on the left side, But I think Bellinger really failed in this game to do that, and that in return made Daniel Jones under more duress throughout the day. And they probably thought that was going to be the game plan to really keep Daniel Jones upright. But, man, like, they were really putting that pressure. Dallas Cowboys have one of the best fronts in the NFL. We got to keep it funky on that, too, man. I mean, Micah Parsons, there was one time he got to Daniel Jones. I was like, wow, man. It was on the left side. It was on our right side. So he was going between Evan Neal and whoever was at right guard. And, man, he straight up bulldozed that right guard and got right in Daniel Jones' face, slammed Daniel Jones to the ground. But Daniel Jones, tough as nails, man, got right back up, popped right back up, got back to the huddle and got back to business, man. So they just got to find a way, man. Like, offensively, that offensive line is probably the number one problem, and we've been talking about that for 5 years now. That they got to find a way to fix that. And I always tell people this, man. It's not easy to rebuild an offensive line. I'd say rebuilding an offensive line is probably the hardest job in the NFL, right outside of rebuilding the secondary and rebuilding the trenches on the defensive side of the ball as well, too. But, like, wide receiver talent, usually most people could see that, it eye test numbers. You can look at all these stats, next-gen stats and all that, and be able to figure out if a wide receiver is going to work within the system. Offensive line is a whole different monster, man. I remember when we signed Nate Solder, and I saw, like, some of his tape from New England, and I was like, oh, this dude's going to come in here and be a beast. And, man, that dude was an absolute bust. He's probably one of the worst signings that the New York Giants have ever had, to in our history, to be honest. I mean, at least my 30 years of watching football, I don't ever remember nobody being that bad after getting paid a bag like that. It's really interesting. But as far as this one, I think that the Giants' answer at wide receiver is going to have to come within for the next couple of weeks, at least. And then if you can manage, to get a couple of wins here, it's kind of that position that Dallas was in after week 1. You put a backup quarterback in there, right? And if you can get a couple of wins, man, then you're still in the mix. I think the same thing goes for the Giants here. If we can win our next couple of games, man, or, at least have a winning record within the next couple of games, buy us some time, show that we're on our way to being a playoff caliber type of team, at least this season, then you go out there and you maybe try to make the move at the wide receiver position. You feel me? But I'm going to say for this, I'm taking the push. I'm going to take the push because I'm agreeing with that a little bit. But I don't think you got to go no established vets if you could buy yourself a little bit of time. That's really where I'm going with that one. And I got one more overreaction before we get up out of here. We'll cut this show at about 1 hour and 30 minutes. We had 1 hour and 20 right now. We got 100 in the building, man. Salute to y'all one time for pulling up, rocking with your boy Awthentik, man. Big time therapy session, man. Y'all know what it is over here, man. Hit that subscribe button if you digging the vibes, man. And hit that notification bell because over here at Awthentik and the Beard, most of our content is live content, and I think that's why a lot of people have been telling me in our chat, like, yo, it's surprising I can't find y'all channel. Because, I follow a bunch of Giants content creators, and it's, it's kind of strange that I don't see y'all stuff pop up in the algorithm. And a lot of the reason is because we do almost all live shows. But this year we definitely put an emphasis on trying to, do a lot more pre-recorded content and whatnot. So you're going to see a bunch of pre-recorded content coming out as well. But if you're digging the vibes, definitely hit that subscribe button, man. I got that Kenny Golladay video coming out as well. And I'm working on a couple other videos too. I wanted to do a video for Sterling Shepard as well, man. Because that might have been his last snap, not only as a New York Giant, but it might have been his last snap in the NFL. We'll see, man. Prayers go out to him. I know he's been dealing with a bunch of turmoil in the offseason in his personal life, on and off the field, man. So I'm wishing the best for Sterling Shepard. I'm hoping he can get back right. He looked really good, man. A lot of people were saying he kind of didn't look like himself. To me, he was right back in true form. That catch that he made on his back shoulder across the middle, Daniel Jones hit him up high, the way he climbed the ladder to go get that catch, the way that he broke in and out of his route on that double move that he had that Daniel Jones overthrew him on last week. I looked at him like, man, that guy's ready to make some plays. I thought he was going to be a pivotal piece for the New York Giants, and it just wasn't the case. Big injury again, and we know all about that injury bug over here in New York. It's been awful for us for the past couple of years, and to think that just in 2017, which to me was like the most devastating year of injuries when we lost Brandon Marshall, Odell Beckham, and Sterling Shepard got hurt in that same game as well. And also Dwayne Harris, I believe it was, the punt returner / wide receiver. He got hurt in that game as well too. So we just been dealing with injuries left and right. Coming out of the whole Odell Beckham era where then his kind of career kind of took a hit when he started getting injured here with the New York Giants. And then you could go and date back to 2014 with Victor Cruz. In 2014, I felt so good about this Giants wide receiver core, man. Like, Victor Cruz coming off an injury, I thought he was going to be able to get back to true form. Oh, well, actually, no. It was actually before the injury. You know, I was thinking the tandem with him and Odell Beckham. I'm just like, man, this going to be crazy. And then Victor Cruz tears that patella, and Odell Beckham started that year off with the hamstring injury. So the first game we got to see Odell and Victor Cruz. Cruz goes out with that injury, and it was a primetime game too. Patella injury knocked him out for the year, and then Odell Beckham just turned into Odell Beckham after that and was a highlight reel. But injuries have definitely been a problem with the New York Giants for a long time here, man, and super unfortunate, man. I'm just waiting for us to get off that injury bug, and a lot of people want to blame it on you know, like the people who deal with injuries, pretty much. You know, the doctors who deal with injuries in the New York, you know, medical staff and whatnot. And I mean, guys getting hurt, it's not really much you could do about that. You know, you got to get strong, lift weights, do your thing, and, you know, try to keep your body out of harm's way as best as you possibly can. And it just seems like we just can't dodge that. It's been really bad for the New York Giants for the past decade. I'm going to say the past decade for real, 100. So just got caught up on the chat, and I wanted to bring up this last overreaction, and then we'll get up out of here. We got about 5 more minutes. I appreciate all y'all sticking around, rocking with me, man. Big vibes over here at Awthentik and the Beard, man. The giant overreaction for week 3. Y'all know what it is, man. All right, let's get into this last one here. I think this one is the most important one we need to talk about too. And we did a little bit of chatting about him as well. But let's talk about this man right here. All right, we got to talk about Kenny Golladay, man. And this one came from Twitter. Going to remain anonymous, but if you want to search the exact tweet, do you? And this particular person said, I told y'all the Kenny Golladay contract is way worse than the Nate Solder contract, #TogetherBlue. Now, I'm going to get their contracts, you know, up here and bring them to my attention here. I know Kenny Golladay, $20 million a year, pretty much $74 million, 4-year contract. Nate Solder, let me see what Nate Solder's contract was with the Giants. And y'all let me know if y'all think this is an overreaction. Let me see some O's in the chat. And if you want to take the under and you agree with the statement on the screen, let me see some U's in the chat. And if you want to take the push and maybe see what Kenny Golladay can do for the rest of the season, let me see the P in the chat one time. And I'm going to pull up this Nate Solder contract one time and see how much money the Giants wasted on this guy. So Nate Solder, it was a 4-year, my God. They gave that man Nate Solder a 4-year, $62 million contract with a $16 million signing bonus with an average salary of $15 million. $34 million of it was guaranteed. I mean, that is very, very, very outrageous looking back at that in hindsight, man. Like, that's wild. And Kenny Galladay's contract was a $72 million contract. It was a 4-year, $72 million deal. I'm trying to see how much of this was guaranteed. My God. So Kenny Golladay is $40 million guaranteed, man. So you got $40 million guaranteed from Kenny Golladay, and you got $34 million guaranteed for Nate Solder. I don't know about y'all, man. I might have to take the push on that one, dog. Like, damn, that is terrible. Both of those contracts seem like an extreme waste, man. And, you know, the thing about the Kenny Golladay contract, I brought this up early in the show for anybody who wasn't here earlier, is you went out there and you spent the $30 million on Golden Tate first to try to replace Odell Beckham. And Golden Tate looking like probably the best wide receiver for the Giants outside of Darius Slayton in the past 3 years. But his productivity wasn't that great with us. You know, I think it was like just over 500-600 yards maybe or something like that, a couple touchdowns. But I know that Darius Slayton led the New York Giants in touchdowns every season he's ever been here. Rookie season, he had 8 touchdowns, and then he had 3 in 2020 and 3 in 2021. He was tied for the lead in one of those years as well. But for me, man, I'm gonna look at y'all, what y'all statements are on this. I saw somebody put the WTF on as their response, and that's exactly my response here one time too, because you're just literally throwing dollars away. And now this is the reason why the New York Giants not only don't have productivity out of these positions, but why we're drafting and trying to still fill, you know, more players that'll come in and replace these guys. And now we're strapped for money. This is literally why we're strapped for money. And shout out to Oscar on radio one time. He says, cap was lower back then and we had to start Solder. At least we can get rid of Golladay next year and stop worrying about it. Yeah, that's true. And then Nate Solder, can't forget, too, that he sat out a year. During the COVID year, he just stayed at home, and then he came back. He wasn't in football shape. We talking about lack of commitment and lack of effort from Kenny Golladay. I mean, Nate Solder's lack of effort and commitment was awful. I don't want to, I'm not the kind of person that like to dog on people. You ain't, it's very rare you're going to hear me call a player trash or say anybody sucks or this guy's garbage or anything like that, because, all they can do is go out there and try their best. If I'm that player, if I'm Nate Solder, you think I'm not going to try to get to the bag? If I'm Kenny Golladay, what you think? I'm going to be taking a pay cut right now? I'm going to try to get to the bag as much as I can. They're going out there. They're putting their bodies on the line. They're putting their careers on the line. They're putting their lives on the line, too. We've already seen mad players have been hit and had injuries that ended careers. Some people paralyzed, neck injuries, all this stuff. So they're putting themselves on the line when they go out there each and every game. So for me, it's like I'm not going to rag on these guys too crazy, but I will talk about how the New York Giants did waste money and they're not living up to the contracts. And that's just facts of what it is for Kenny Golladay and Nate Solder. Let me get to this one little quick answer for the homie Word. One time he wanted my opinion on the defense. What do I think about the Giants defense overall? Played a lot of bend, don't break. Again, the blitz from Wink Martindale this week, we kind of died on that a bit, I feel like. And Cooper Rush getting that ball out quickly really hurt us, I don't think that the New York Giants or Wink Martindale expected that to happen. I don't think they thought that Cooper Rush was going to be able to get that ball out as fast as he was getting that ball out. And in return, that really killed us. And if CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop that pass, I'm telling you, man, Cooper Rush's stats going to be crazy. He's going to be sitting over 300. He completed a ton of passes on the day, man. He did his thing in this game. Like, I'm very impressed by what Cooper Rush did in this game. 21 to 31, 215, 1 touchdown. You get that other CeeDee Lamb one, that's 2 touchdowns right there. His QBR was 68.5. That's really high out of a scale of 100. Quarterback rating of 98, just under 100. A lot of that is also predicated on the running game that the Dallas Cowboys had as well. Zeke Elliott and Pollard, combining for almost 200 yards, 178 yards on the day. 8.1 yards per carry for Pollard, 4.9 for Ezekiel Elliott, who really, I feel Ezekiel Elliott set the pace to then bring in Pollard to switch the pace and get those big runs. So, it makes the passing game that much easier, man, and you're keeping the Giants defense off balance. The edge rushers really failed in this game in 2 major ways. They didn't get after the quarterback, and they weren't sealing the edge on the zone runs from the Dallas Cowboys as well. So you saw Zeke and you saw Pollard getting to that right tackle a lot in this game. I don't know if y'all remember the game about 2 years ago with Zeke Elliott against the Giants where they literally just ran to the right side the whole damn game, and the Giants could not stop it. This game reminded me of that a lot. Linebacker-wise, you saw a good bit of hesitation out of Tate Crowder out the middle linebacker position. But like I said, they played good bend, don't break kind of vibes. There was a lot of times that the Dallas Cowboys got down there in scoring range, and the defense held up, and they did a good job. Penalties also saved us in a couple of positions there, too. A lot of penalties were bringing back Cowboys plays, and they were shooting themselves in the foot in that first half as well. So, for me, defense, if I had to give it like an overall grade, I would say probably a C- on the day. The front was the biggest problem. And you also saw the lack of Leonard Williams out there. That they were able to run the ball at will wherever they wanted. I place emphasis on the zone running outside, but they were also able to run the ball right between the tackles as well, too. So, for me, we definitely need to get Leonard Williams back, but that's probably going to be somewhere between like a 4 to 6, 7 week injury, I imagine. He's probably going to miss about, half the season here. So, I like I said, man, C-, maybe. I can't go D+. I don't think it'd be a D+. I go C-. And being that you're facing a backup quarterback, man, that's interesting that they were able to do that. I think maybe we overlooked that whole situation. But let me see like what y'all was talking about this one with Nate Solder. So a lot of people were talking about they're taking the under on this one, man. Steven R, shout out to Steven one time in the building. He's been rocking with us now for the past couple weeks, real heavy. And Chris Peace as well taking that under. 40 Luck says this is an overreaction. Shout out 40 Luck, man. What's going on, fam? Hope all is well with you. Who else we got? James Ramon says Nate Solder was a folding chair at left tackle. Yeah, that's facts. And that right tackle was horrible. And then when Andrew Thomas ended up getting banged up and Nate Solder had to go to left tackle, it was really bad. It was really, really bad. What else we got up in here, man? James Ramon says, can I take my O back? Yeah, you can take it back, bro. It's all good. Ain't no thing. And then Perry Mack says at least Nate was trying. Yeah, you definitely on field you saw Nate Solder was definitely giving his best effort, man, and just falling short. With Kenny Golladay, a lot of people are questioning the effort. I don't know, man. I like to not question NFL players' efforts because I've always been one to preach this is that if you go out on the NFL field and you don't give effort, man, you're going to get your head taken off straight up. Like, you can't be out there loafing. You got to be out there full speed, full throttle, every play as much as you can. And I'm not saying, like, players don't take plays off. I forget who it was. It was a real big interview that came out just this past week where they were talking about, players do take off, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have the energy to be able to, make some of the splash plays that they make. But I can't question the effort, but it looks like Nate Solder is trying, like he was trying harder than Kenny Golladay was, for sure. Who else we got up in here? Neymar's taking the push on this one. I think that's a smart move, too, to kind of see what Kenny Golladay can do for the rest of the season. But if he continues this for a couple more weeks, man, this guy might not be in blue here for a second. We'll see. Shout out to Gregory one time in the building. Gregory's taking that under one time. He kind of agrees with this statement on the screen one time. He don't think this is an overreaction. He thinks Kenny Galladay's contract is way worse. I should have just put worse, because saying way worse, man, the way both of them contracts look bad for real when you think about it. I should have just put worse on that and kind of removed that. Word took the push one time. Jordan took the push too. What else we got? My man Jeffrey says quality quarterback equals quality play from others. That's an interesting statement. It really is, because you do need good play from the other positions. But for me, I'm able to assess the quarterback position when things are going wrong. Like this offensive line looks awful. This wide receiver core looks awful. I'm still able to assess Daniel Jones, I feel like. And I think Daniel Jones could be a starter in this league. That's my thoughts of it right now. You put the right pieces around him, he could win games. I think Daniel Jones is like a bit around, like, could be around a Dak Prescott if everything was right around him. Something like that. Maybe not as high with the passing yards. Maybe that's not the greatest comparison, but that's the kind of style of play I see that he could be, like doing some running, taking care of the ball, which got to give him his kudos last night for that too. He got hit a couple times, blind side, and then he had the one front side. I called him out on that. Daniel Jones is horrible at seeing front side pressure, but most importantly, the kid held on to the ball, man, during taking some big hits, and that's what you want to see out of him. You want to see him be able to protect the ball, because Daniel Jones, if you look back at the rookie year, the only thing you could say that was really bad about how he played was how many times he turned the ball over. Fumbled the ball 19 times, lost 11 of them, and 5 of them, almost 6 of them, were scooping scores for the other team. So seems to be that he's kind of cleaned that up. Maybe that's the one thing we can pull from the Jason Garrett regime that he did well. You know what I'm saying? And Jameson took the under, Man of Culture took the under, and Kai took the under as well. So they all think that contract is worse. And this is not an overreaction. So for me, man, I'm going to take the push on this, straight up. That's just what it is. I got to take the push. Let me see what Kenny Golladay does in the next 2 weeks. They got to find a way to scheme him up a little bit better. Like I said, I'll repeat this one more time for those of y'all that were not here. Take a play out of the Philadelphia Eagles playbook. Start using that RPO to get Kenny Golladay open. Find ways to make the running game effective with the RPO first. Giving it to Saquon on some of those first. See if he can get some chunk plays. They had a lot of sets yesterday with 8 men in the box going up against the New York Giants. To me, that just says one-on-one outside. Go back and look at the snaps where Kenny Golladay was on the field and look at how much spacing Trayvon Diggs was giving him. He was playing him off the ball like 12 and 13 yards at times. So for me, what you got to do is you got to establish you can use the RPO to get that quick slant going, because that's where A.J. Brown is making his money right now, is on the quick slant. And the yak, the yards after the catch, after he catches the quick slant, he's picking up 10 and 20 yards, which I think Kenny Golladay can do those kind of things, right? Especially when you recognize soft coverage. Why not throw if Trayvon Diggs is going to be 10 to 12, 13 yards off the ball, why not just throw a hitch route, like right off the break to Kenny Golladay? Where are the hot reads? Last night, we didn't see a lot of audible from Daniel Jones. The one that I can remember was in the first half. He had a hot read where he noticed some leverage from Michael Parsons being on he was on Daniel Jones' left side. So they did a play where he motioned Matt Breida from the left side over, and then they handed it to him on like a jet sweep, and we ended up picking up the first down. I thought it was a great play call and a great read from Daniel Jones to recognize that. But outside of that, we didn't see too much audibles at the line. Kenny Golladay, one-on-one, should be able to do some things. And if you break a tackle, even if you do a stop route or a hitch route, something short, 2 yards, even if the guy makes a tackle, you still got positive plays. It's a great play to run, or you still get positive yards, and it's a great play to run on first down. Like, on first down, if you can get 2-3 yards, that's fine. Then you're looking at 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7. Try to make it a manageable third down if you got to. And then, just keep these drives, keep them alive, keep them moving. Get the ball into the playmaker's hands. That we're failing to do that a lot. And I got to put some of that on the play caller, on Mike Kafka. I got to put some of that on him. But he's doing a great job at utilizing the tight end in the passing game. I love what I was seeing out of that. Very sneaky routes from tight end, and Bellinger had a pretty decent game. I didn't call out Bellinger's stats on the day, but let me give you all his stats as well because I think that's pretty important. He had 4 catches for 40 yards, and he was averaging 10 yards a catch, and he only had 5 targets on the day. So what this screams to me is efficiency. Every time he's getting a target, he's pretty much making a catch because he was wide open. And it kind of showed that last week's touchdown that he got too, it was only his 1 reception of the day, but schemed open perfectly. And it giving your quarterback easy opportunities to get positive yards. And in that case, against Carolina Panthers, easy opportunity to get a touchdown, which we know Daniel Jones needs as many easy touchdowns as he can get because in the red zone seems to be a big issue. And, that's another thing I wanted to look at too. In the red zone, the Giants never even got to the red zone in this game. Our 1 touchdown came with Saquon Barkley from outside the red zone on that big 38-yard run. So for me, you got to find ways to get us down that red zone. This offense still looks a little, putrid in the first half. Got to find ways, and the Dallas Cowboys were 2 of 4 in the red zone on the day, which is, you can live with that. It's not fantastic, but you can live with that for sure. Giants ran the ball pretty well, so I think, it should set up some things to be able to get you down there in the red zone and be able to, have some successful conversions there when you get down there in the red zone. And we lacked that, in yesterday's game. No attempts in the red zone, which is that you're not going to win games like that. And a lot of people were telling me, you got to pump the brakes on this offense. I wanted a big game for Daniel Jones, but, one of the things that people brought to my attention, I said this on the show on Thursday on the preview show, is, the Dallas Cowboys defense has really improved in a different way right now, too. They allowed Joe Burrow 1 touchdown. They allowed Tom Brady 1 touchdown. And a lot of people were telling me that, like, what do you think that means for Daniel Jones? He's not going to get there's no way he gets over 1 touchdown. I kind of was like, man, I just want a big game out of him. And they were right on that. No touchdowns for Daniel Jones. The 1 interception, which has a little asterisk next to it. But, hey, interceptions go to the quarterback every time. That interception definitely wasn't his fault. Wide receiver falls down on the game-winning drive. And I'm going to keep it real with you. 1:37 left. Daniel Jones got that ball. I think we started off on our own 10-yard line. I was feeling it, man. I thought he was going to drive us down that field and score a touchdown. And I was just waiting on us to go for a 2-point conversion again. I was going to be like, yo, Brian Dable is about to be praised in the Big Apple if the Giants go down here and win this game. It would have been an amazing story. Unfortunately, the Giants take that L, man. But as far as this Kenny Golladay contract, man, I got to take the push on this. I'll let y'all know in two weeks. I'll let y'all know how I feel about the Kenny Golladay thing. And I'm just scrolling, catching up to y'all in the chat, man. Y'all definitely lit in the chat one time, man. Still a gang of people in the building, man. Appreciate y'all pulling up. Y'all know what it is, man. It's the Giant Overreaction, the Week 2 edition, man, over here at Awthentik and the Beard, man. Make sure y'all check us out tonight, 7 p.m. We're going to be doing our NFC East recap, talking over both of these games in depth, man. The Philadelphia Eagles, man, they really dog-walked them Washington Commanders. And I think the Dallas Cowboys did a really good job at beating the New York Giants. I don't think anybody could have predicted that offensively the Cowboys were going to be able to put up these kind of numbers with a backup quarterback. Started with the running game. I thought that we could beat them in the the running department. I thought Saquon Barkley was going to be enough, and he was going to have more yards than Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard, to be honest. I thought the Giants defense was going to do a better job of trying to restrain them from gaining so much rushing yards on us, but that just wasn't a story. It might be a good loss, and it might be a good way for Wink Martindale to go back to the drawing board and really look at this defense. The one thing I didn't really see in this game, too, was Dane Belton. I didn't really see him out there on the field that much. I don't know if he was just not making plays or what. Maybe one of y'all could let me know in the chat. But I just didn't see him there too much, man. But that's the overreactions that I had for today, man. Definitely appreciate all of y'all staying here rocking with me. I was going to try to make this show an hour. I literally just said like an hour and a half, just 20 minutes ago. Now we at the hour and 45-minute mark, man. I definitely appreciate everybody pulling up, man. We really can't do this without y'all, man. It's like I'd be recording these videos and just chopping it up with the Beard, and that would be that if we didn't have a community to talk to this about or, aim these takes at and whatnot, man. But I definitely appreciate y'all pulling up. Before we get out of here, man, let's definitely get some biceps in the chat, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Shout out my guy 40 Luck one time in the building, kicking off them biceps. Shout out the homie Jeff in the building too, man. Appreciate all of y'all. Y'all know what it is, man. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. He says KG is cooked. Whew. Shout out my man Word one time in the building. You already know, man. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you for pulling up, man. Send me some new stuff too, bro. Send me some new stuff. I'm trying to hear that. Hey, the Beard's still in the building one time. My guy, best co-host in the country, man. Sabrina's still in the building, man. I appreciate all y'all, man. My day ones, y'all been rocking with us for so long, man. Y'all literally are what launch pads this channel, man. It really gives us an opportunity to be seen by the algorithm because y'all show up every week, man. And shout out to my man, The Beard, one time for reminding me, Manscaped code one time. So let's get an authentic beat before we get up out of here. And let me give y'all this Manscaped read one time. Then I put it on these notes. It's on the next one. So let's see here. All right, y'all. Support for the Giant Overreaction with Awthentik and The Beard is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Bars. Manscaped's Performance Pack is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you that we are presenting for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code AATB, like Awthentik and The Beard. I know my man The Beard's going to put that code in the chat one time, man. So get your 20% off and your free shipping with the code AATB at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. And I will say this, man, as a brother, African-American brother, both my folks from Haiti, you know, you normally can't just rock out with a normal razor blade or anything like that, bro. Like us African-Americans, you will break out crazy if you try to put a razor blade in any sensitive area, especially like your beard or the back of your fade or anything like that. And dealing with these Manscaped products, man, it really surprised me, to be honest, man. They got an awesome little trimmer, nose trimmer, come with a bunch of like different lotion products. They got this thing called Ball Balm, which really threw me for a bone. I might have used that one time at the Beard's wedding because it was like 100,000 degrees out there one time, man. And there's a picture going around that was on the Beard's Instagram where the photographer at the wedding told The Beard, whisper something in your wife's ear that's gonna make her laugh. And he said something about like either using a ball balm or he shaved his balls or something like that. Yo, in the picture came out fire, man. So for those of y'all that are like a little bit skeptical about Manscaped's products, give it a try, man. And with this code, man, it really makes this bundle like super cheap for you, man. It'll definitely help out the channel for us, man. We have a partnership with Manscaped where they're giving us a portion of those proceeds that people who use our AATB code, it will go directly to support of this channel. So definitely, man, use that code if you are interested in like getting somebody a birthday gift or, you know, with the holidays coming up and whatnot, maybe that's a good time to do that. Definitely check them out. And I'm going to be announcing our other sponsor that we're going to be having for this show next week for the content creators, man. This is a major one. And me as having an audio background, I'm telling you, I got something that y'all going to love, man. I know a lot of people in the content creation community are definitely going to jump on this. But yeah, definitely check us out, man. AATB at manscaped.com, 20% off and free worldwide shipping. If you're over there in like, you know, Haiti, Zimbabwe, if you're over there in the UK, wherever you at, man, you get free shipping, man. So it's a good look over there. You get to save a lot of money. And if you know somebody who, you know, might benefit from, you know, a Manscaped package or is already somebody who's invested in the Manscaped brand, then go ahead and send them that code and let them use that code as well, too. So tonight, man, we're definitely going to be rocking the recap from Sunday's performances from Washington and the Eagles, and we're going to be talking about the Monday Night Football matchup between the Cowboys and the Giants, man. Definitely a vibe today, man. I definitely appreciate all y'all pulling up for the show, man. Make sure you pull up again at 7 p.m., man. I can't wait to hear the Beard rant and let out his frustrations about the Washington Commanders, man, because now they're sitting at the bottom of the division at 1-2. It's going to be a climb up for them from here on out. They got to find a way to win some games. I even heard, I saw the Beard arguing with some people on Twitter, and people were saying they calling for Taylor Heineke to come out there. I think they need to pump the brakes on that. Talk about an overreaction in its own. But definitely check us out, man, tonight, 7 p.m., man. It's going to be a fantastic show, man. I'm really looking forward to chopping it up with the Beard. And our Tuesday shows can tend to go a little bit longer, too. So this might be like a 2-3 hour stream. We'll see how it goes. But it was only 2 games, so who knows? We'll see how that one goes. But we got the time to do it with no games tonight, man. We got 2 days to just kind of burn until we get back to Thursday night football. And then we can start to anticipate our New York Giants taking on those Chicago Bears, man, on Sunday, man. I'm really looking forward to it, man. Again, thank you to everybody that pulled up today. We had over 100 in the building at one point. That's major, major, major love, man. Shout out no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Got to feel a little bit better, man. I made it a point, man. I made an emphasis to wake up today and feel good about that, man. That game, I like what I saw out of Daniel Jones, man. The kid definitely showed fight. And I like what I saw out of Evan Neal in a bad game. The kid really showed a lot of fight, man. So we're going to close this one out, man. Definitely appreciate all y'all rocking with me, man. It means the world to me, man. I'm trying to make this thing like a full-time thing for real, man. Like, I just want to be able to come up here and chop it up with y'all. Giants football all year long. That's the goal right now. And I feel like we're pretty much like halfway there because of the support that y'all have shown this channel, man. So, just keep rocking with us, man. We're going to keep bringing y'all that high-tier content, man, high-quality graphics. We're going to try to keep dropping the gems for y'all, the roadmaps, the nuggets, all of that, trying to give y'all all the best information and trying to, create a hub for y'all where you can come here and get that kind of information and know that you're going to receive that information every time you rock with us on a Giant Overreaction or preview or recap show. And don't forget to catch us on Sundays for the parlay, man. That was a cool show last week. The Beard, you've been killing the parlay, man. I love what you've been doing over there. Some great picks last week. I had a couple upset picks too, man, and I lost in my fantasy, man, for 2 straight weeks now. I fell to 1 and 2. We're going to try to bounce back, get ourselves a victory, man. But again, man, I really appreciate everybody, man, sticking with us here, man, for almost a 2-hour show, man. This was a good one. Real chill vibe. I like to call it a Giant Overreaction a slow burner, man, so you could pull up a chair, son, and put one in the air, son, and just kind of vent and let your frustrations out, and it'd be a bit of a therapy session, man. This was a good one. Definitely appreciate it again, man. So we'll see y'all tonight, man, at 7 p.m. Get your good dosage of content from all the other content creators, man. Show these guys some love. Check out their videos. I already saw a bunch of instant recaps from the homie The Hub. Entertainer had one. Bad Dog had one. Tim from Online Big Blue had one. I'm waiting to see what Kyle Pizzle puts out. Him and Mark Holmes was going at it this week. And it was a big rivalry on the line here. Unfortunately, we took the L, but definitely check them out, man. And, anybody else I missed, man, KB, all these guys doing good stuff. Ash Money doing great stuff. Big Pat Sports, PTA, these guys are all a part of this community, and they're lending their helping hand to do it. And I'm just trying to be a crutch for the community as well. So, again, appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. Keep living those dreams, man. Keep raising that bar. I'll see y'all tonight at 7 p.m., man. Y'all be good. Peace.